the other side of the fence, dude.
What I'm
it's a
saying,
different world when you're in it.
Hang on, Mitch. Hang on, Josh. What I'm saying is we're seeing a lot of people who are getting like reinvigorated because of this mess. They don't want to see the party go to a woke ass lefty. And so, I mean, you have in Florida. I mean, Josh and Hector dipped out. You have in Florida a lot of people who just couldn't make it for personal reasons and money reasons, man. We had at least 10 delegates that dipped out because of that.
Many of them who tune into this show.
Yeah.
And Duke, I can readily confirm, like through my sources, that there is a ton of activity coming back to the Mises Caucus. It seems like this has definitely
dude, it has been awesome.
Well, then good. Like, maybe I would hope I'm wrong.
Maybe I came to save the caucus. Y'all needed a kick in the ass.
Well, you probably voted for Chase. I didn't look at who you voted for. You probably voted for
I wish we could record this point because if I'm being real, I would rather.
If you shut the fuck up, we are live now. Welcome back.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, good. You caught me picking my nose. Nice.
We are back live again.
All right, now rehab that fight.
Okay. Oh man.
All right.
But
So let's get back to the question at hand that was posed before we had some technical issues. So
yes, please.
Duke had hit me with the 30,000 foot question: is how is this a net positive for liberty in the big scope of things with having a Chase Oliver, Mike Termott ticket? And the reality is, if you actually look at it, and let's be real with ourselves, boys, because we live in the real world. Let's get out of the Ancapistan we all like to live in our heads. The LP generally and historically pulls votes from the left. We generally pull votes from Democrats. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Let's not lie. Let's not be dishonest. Let's tell the truth. We take votes away from Democrats. We don't really appeal to Republicans because they're loyal to a fault. They would rather back the rhino and then endorse a Democrat than support a libertarian just out of pure spite. So having somebody like Chase who's going to appeal to young liberal voters and having someone like Mike who's going to appeal to the sane liberal end of the Democrat Party that isn't fucking cracked out on progressivism is going to be a net win. Especially when you got Bobby Kennedy out there, who's also going to draw votes away from the Democratic Party. This is going to end up being a net positive. You're going to have so many different third parties who are going to pull votes away just because people are fed the fuck up. And having somebody like Chase out there doing this absolutely is going to do possibly long-term damage to the Democratic National Committee, possibly for decades that they may have a hard time recovering from. They've never had to deal with something like this, like a Chase Oliver and a Robert Kennedy out there just fucking smashing around. And then you got Cornel West and Jill Stein too. Jesus Christ. These young liberal kids are going to have a fucking feast.
I think that you're fucking wrong. And I know that Duke probably agrees with me. I have a question though. Do you think the Libertarian Party is going to get third place?
Oh yeah.
I'm asking Josh.
I don't.
Mitch's camera's fucked. What do you think the outcome of this election is going to be? You're saying that they're going to take all these votes from one side, and this has always been like whatever you're saying.
But don't get me wrong. Look, there's going to be votes taken from the Trump side too. Let's not be like misunderstood here.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. My point is, what do you think the outcome of this election is going to be?
At the risk of shooting myself in the foot politically, if I had to take a guess, being a realist here, you're probably looking at Trump getting like 47, 48%. Biden's going to get like 42 or 43.
That's not what I asked you. For the Libertarian Party, I don't care about the others. What is the outcome going to be?
What is the outcome? Yeah, I hate to agree with Duke, but reality is that we're probably, looking realistically at a fourth place victory here. And, things can change. Like
higher or lower than 1%?
I'm rooting for fifth.
I'm going to be straight here. I'm going to go slightly higher than 1%.
I'm
not going to give it much, but I'm going to give it to 1%.
1% sounds like it's possible because you can get
no.
Like Cornel West can
the
get close
1%.
to 1, LP can get close to 1, Green can get close to 1. I think Bobby Kennedy, if he gets on enough in enough states. He could pull 10.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Bobby, like it's somewhere between 8 and 9% there. That's why I'm saying like it's going to do some serious damage to the Democratic establishment here. They're not like they had a choice this year. They could have rode with Kennedy. They could have stuck with Biden like they are, or they could have chose somebody else. Everything except Biden would have been a better idea than what they're doing right now, which is Biden.
All right.
So, I mean, the Democrats are going to get fucked up out here this year, in my opinion.
All right. I want to. Josh gave his takes. Chat's going fucking crazy right now, saying, most people are saying that you're fucking wrong. There are some people
Don't boo me. I'm right.
There's some people that agree with you.
Right.
I think the best person to take the extreme opposite of this would be Duke. So let's let him say, his portion of it.
How does this ticket further liberty? Is that the question?
Well, like
the 30,000 foot, or is it? Or
like Josh was basically giving the
ticket?
positive spin on how this ticket is going to be great for us, and it's this is actually the best possible outcome, is what you said, right? This is the best possible outcome to have Mike Termott and Chase, because we typically pull from the left.
You're retarded.
No, what I said was if you are
Okay.
looking to wreck the Democratic regime that has been the biggest net negative on liberty.
You can't say wreck the regime. You cannot say wreck the regime after all you did.
Those are
You
awful
piece of
words.
shit. You're a piece of fucking shit, and you know you are.
God, I love you, Josh.
Don't ever sneak wreck the regime when you're talking about Chase and Mike Termott in there ever again.
I just did, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it.
It's
Fuck your
trademark,
IP.
bitch. It's trademark. Look for the lawsuit in your mail.
Rep,
I
please
will.
sue him.
Please come serve me. I will fucking sign it and hang it on my wall after I frame it and take a picture of the post on Twitter.
Never mind. Don't give him that victory.
They say they want to wreck the
I'll
regime.
go
They
to
won't get
court
3%.
with a smile on my face. Rhett can bend me over the table and go all in. That's fine.
Whoa,
right.
man. He ain't like
It's
Lars.
more
I
copyright.
I
This
don't
is
know,
another
man. After a
another
couple
thing,
gummies,
man.
he might get a little loosey-goosey.
All right, we're throwing hands today, boys. It's all good. Duke,
Ugh.
you've heard Josh's take on the outcome. What is yours?
Mine?
Well, no,
No.
you said Duke.
Duke.
If we're talking about how is this going to be better overall for the Libertarian Party as a whole, I think this is a big net negative because of everything that happened this weekend, including what the ticket ended up being. I wouldn't say that what Mike Termott did, so to speak, hurt the Libertarian Party so much, because that was just fucking politics. People need to learn how to play politics better, and they wouldn't have been, butthurt and fucked over like they were. I think you mentioned in the chat, it's like you can't go around calling someone a Fed and a cop and all this stuff for like 2 years straight and then expect them not to stick a knife in you when you fucking give them the opportunity, when you hand them the knife.
And that's what happened. That is what happened.
Well,
The
and
same
I don't
deal was
blame Mike
offered on both
Termott
sides.
one fucking bit for doing
I
this. Is
don't-
a blood sport.
I don't blame him.
Politics is a blood sport.
Exactly.
It's not.
I don't
it's
blame him
not
either.
Let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya into the sunset. It's not that. Especially when you're trying to take a fucking presidential position. So in the long run, I think this greatly hurts the party because it takes a lot. I mean, and you guys, since on off stream, you guys are saying this has actually reinvigorated a lot of the MC. This was a major embarrassment for the Mises Caucus and everything that was the takeover and all that. You just lost your figurehead because he dipped out, and he made many, many mistakes over the course of the last few years after the takeover. But no, I don't think that, maybe the party will take some, woke votes away from Joe Biden. But having a gay communist, cultural communist, and the two worst possible people on COVID out of all of the freaking candidates makes the party look more like a laughingstock, like it always has.
Why are they?
Like
Why are they the
old
worst two
boss the
candidates
same
on
as the new
COVID?
boss, huh?
Why are they the worst two candidates on COVID, Duke?
They were the ones that bought into the freaking regime narrative from the beginning. Maybe they changed their mind as time went on, but they bought it hook, line, and sinker at the very beginning. You got all this stuff coming out with, Mike posted certain things about how the COVID's still going to be raging on into 2024. You got posts about freaking Chase masking at Thanksgiving dinner inside. You know, people who bought into the regime narrative hook, line, and sinker.
Mhm.
You know, that is probably the two worst. I mean, maybe Hornberger was worse, but no one was going to fucking vote for Hornberger.
Hornberger was just a dick. Nobody said he was wrong.
Nobody said he was wrong. Nobody was voting for Hornberger, bro.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, out of the people that won, they were probably the two worst on COVID. And then the biggest thing is Rec was an awful fucking candidate. I know people poured their heart and soul into trying to run him and trying to prop him up and everything like that, but as a presidential political candidate, he was fucking the drizzling shits. He could barely speak publicly. You know, he's a former commie, which didn't go against, you know, didn't work in his favor. He could not debate. Every debate I saw him, he stumbled and bumbled all over himself, except for like Friday, and then he followed it up by glitching out after eating a gummy and making poor decisions, piss poor decisions on Saturday. I mean, the fact that people are trying to blow rainbows up people's ass, trying to say that, oh, this was the best person possible to carry on the Ron Paul revolution for the Mises Caucus, that was someone trying to feed you dog shit and tell you it was chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it was.
Yeah,
and you know, hold on, Rob, let me finish. And
I haven't even got to talk this entire time, so whatever.
Well, let me finish.
We're going around. Everybody will get their say.
Let me finish. And then Dave coming out with his long post, being a man and falling on the sword for other people, saying that he was the best.
Oh, that's bullshit, dude. Come on, man.
Wait,
no, that's not bullshit, Mitch.
That is exactly
I know.
That's exactly what he
don't
did.
give me the whole falling on the sword for the other people, though. I mean, come on, man.
He fell on the sword for everyone else because it's easy to blame Dave, and Dave is man enough that he can fucking take it. All right? He said that Rick was the best person that accepted. Well, what does that tell you? They had no fucking backup plan whatsoever when Dave Smith dropped that. It was Dave Smith or bust, baby. And that is piss poor planning. Because the whole fucking takeover narrative was, we're going to come in, we're going to take over from the woke faggots, from the freaking, you know, the whole Lowberts, and then we're going to put Dave Smith in there. But guess what? Dave Smith wasn't going to run for probably a year and a half, and they didn't tell anyone till the last second. And then they picked some guy that was never going to fucking win. And the only reason he got close to winning is because, yes, the MC was good lockstep, ready to go. But they completely underestimated the fact that there was a major never Mises, anti-Mises contingent in there that were tired of getting talked over or stomped on with the fucking takeover language for all these different years. And guess what? They saw an opportunity to fuck Heiss and everyone in the ass. And guess what they did? They took it. And they are laughing it to the fucking bank. And I hope you guys are right, as we were saying offline, that maybe this isn't the end of the Mises Caucus. But from where I'm sitting right here, it's going to be limping for the next few years, even though you might have 2/3 of the fucking LNC. That's my opinion on it.
Real quickly, you said like a year and a half. They didn't know Dave was going to run. It's more like 4 months.
I was told over a year ago he wasn't running.
Yeah, because there was also bullshit. There was also a bullshit rumor going around.
Turned out not to be bullshit.
Yeah, it turned out.
No. This is completely different. This was something different. This was something different. Let me finish.
Okay.
So basically, there was a certain individual who I will not name, and she went behind Michael Heiss and Dave Smith's back to start a Dave Smith campaign without basically telling them. And they basically had to come in and knock that shit off. And then this person turned around and just immediately started making bogus rumors out of spite. Mm-hmm. And then it was later on that Dave basically stepped away for a little bit. And after he stepped away, it became clear he wasn't running. And then there was basically frantically going around behind the scenes trying to find someone else to run. Because let's face it, you know, we all like wrestling here. Dave was like the Rock for us, man. He was supposed to be the Rock during Attitude Era. But then
Shawn Michaels.
Anyway, no, I'm going with the analogy of the Rock, and you'll know why in a second. It's like, you know, it's cool. You know, back then it was like Rock and Attitude Era, but now like it's like the Rock now. You know what I mean? Like, sure, it's cool to see him show up in the WWE, but it's not the same as the Attitude Era, man.
This is like a terrible analogy.
It's a terrible analogy. But it
Yeah,
makes
because
sense.
if Dave was to come back, if he was to come back at the last minute and say, "Sorry, Rectenwald stepping aside, I'm fucking stepping up," the place would have fucking blew up. I don't know that it would have made a difference because the people were already there, but it would have made a huge difference if he announced earlier.
Think of like almost any Liberty personality in our world. Chances are we approach that person to get them to run.
Mhm.
Like we approach God knows how many people.
Yeah, well, I think they did back the wrong horse, and I think the him eating the gummy before the thing. You can say whatever you want about it. I think that Clint had the right approach. He fucking stayed sober the whole fucking time. He stayed on his points. He was ready to go. He was a professional. Rec was there fucking partying with the boys. That's not how you run a presidential fucking campaign.
Hey, at least I can say I've partied with the presidential candidate. But anyway,
doesn't mean anything.
It's a brag, man.
Okay.
People
if it gets you laid, I'm happy for
people
you.
Don't need to know the context. You just put it at face value, and they come to whatever conclusions they want.
So stupid.
For all you know, that person's
intensifies.
Yeah.
For all you know, that person's thinking they're partying with George Bush.
All right,
Josh,
so
I know you do align with Bush.
I said everybody would get their say. Rob, you obviously disagree with Josh and Duke. What's your takeaway from this whole thing? How do you feel about the outcome? What does it mean for the future?
As the only member of Swamp Creatures on the LNC currently, newly
Congratulations,
elected.
by the way, buddy.
Thank you. Suck it, Josh. I
didn't have to do it with Caucus backing.
Yep.
Well, you should have had Caucus backing. You would have won, bitch. Anyway, I
so mad.
I've talked to
Right?
Kathy. I've talked to even Stephen Nikela. I've talked to many people, and we took over 2/3, if not more, of the LNC. And this is just a minor setback, as far as our head goes. Obviously, it's a big loss for the presidential candidate. But look, we got to work with what we're dealt with here. I'm gonna support the ticket because I'm a libertarian, and Chase and Termont. It's not the end of the world, guys. And people who are jumping ship and leaving the party. I would encourage you to stay. You don't have to vote for the guy, but I would stay, continue to do the work, and get more involved. The reason why we lost was because we had a bunch of people who showed up in Reno in 2022, and you didn't show up this year. We called and we called. And if you said, I got shit to do and I got family stuff, by all means, family comes first. Obviously, you got to take care of your shit. But, when we're sitting here offering financial backing, and you got large delegates who are getting paid, you got other delegates who are getting paid to show up, the party's made of people who show up. And you know what? Enough of us showed up still to get 2/3 of the LNC. And that is a win. That's a huge win for the MC.
No, I'll give you that. But also, it's like when you're saying that, like, people didn't show up, it's like, it's hard asking people to show up to DC on Memorial Day weekend, especially right now when no one's got fucking money. Who's got money to spend? Who's got money to burn right now? Do you? I don't.
No, exactly. No, Duke, I'm 100% with you. And you know who picked to be in DC?
The people beforehand, I know.
The people before the Mises Caucus even took over. You think Mises Caucus members would have voted to hold a Libertarian National Convention in the belly of the beast in the swamp?
Maybe.
It was a good
y'all
time.
wonder if they did that intentionally.
Dude, I think they might have. There were definitely people. Hey, if I was up at the chair, if I was Josh or like Angela or something, I would have been like, if you're in the CIA, please stand up. You have to tell us. You have to tell us if you're in the FBI or CIA. And I would have gone through and fucking tried to background check everyone who is fucking credentialed, because I definitely know there are some feds in the building, and I'm not talking about Mike Termont because we all know he's a fucking fed.
Feds are allowed to be libertarians too, right?
But no, I'm talking about like inside detractors. Yes, feds are allowed to be libertarians if you're a retired fed, which Mike Termont is. That's fine. But I'm saying like actively working to dismantle the party from the inside.
Well, then
I know there's got to be some
by the fucking feds. They would be. All right.
Paid
you clearly do not know how people are handled and compromised, Rob.
Or are you saying they're paid by like some shell corporation? You know what I'm saying? Like under the table kind of deal. Is that what you're saying?
If you're being paid and you're being compromised and handled to subvert things, yeah, it doesn't come in and say like paid by the CIA, paid by the FBI. You ain't gonna find that shit in background checks because guess who does the background checks?
I see what you're saying. How do we find these people though? We need to get them out of the party. I know they're fucking in there. How do we
Just
get
look
them
for
out?
Ray Epps.
Well, there was like a lot of shenanigans, and there were shenanigans on both sides because like the one that everybody's talking about right now is like all the shenanigans about the people sending
Say
the text
shenanigans
messages.
one more time.
Shenanigans.
The next motherfucker who says shenanigans on this show. I swear to God.
Shenanigans.
Hey, dude, what's
There
that
you go.
place that we like to go through with all the crazy shit on the walls?
Talk about shenanigans?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, but anyways, there was a lot of shit going on. Like everybody's talking about the text messages from the old guard, like delay, and you saw the vote totals go down over time. The closer we got to midnight, people started leaving the room. Everybody who was there to support Rectenwald, that's your own fucking fault if you had to leave. You should have planned. You should have known the shit was coming. On the other end of that, the shenanigans that no one is talking about is the stuff that I kind of want to get some answers to. And you guys were there, so you tell me if this happened or not. Because the chat during the live stream definitely called it out that while the presidential nominees were giving their speeches, some of them were being cut off promptly when their time came. The other nominees were allowed to go overtime, and you can go back and watch the streams and see which candidates were allowed to go over their time, and it was Rectenwald and Clint Russell. They were allowed to extend beyond their time. Every other candidate got pushed back. The other thing that people didn't like was the transparency issue of who was allowed to debate Vivek. I want to know how that was decided. Debate Vivek. I want to know how that was decided because from the outside looking in, it looked like Angela was just kind of putting up her people and whoever she wanted. Now she was in control. Politics is a dirty game, and that's how the game is played. But there were a lot of things that happened. Who was allowed to speak before Trump? Why was it Rectenwald, Clint, and Dave? Are you telling me that no one else had a shot in fucking hell of making it? How were these decisions made? When were these decisions made? I think there were shenanigans on both sides, but the game was played and the MC lost. Go ahead.
May I have the first bite of the apple since I got all of your sloppy seconds the first time?
Sure.
Of course.
All right. So referring to the old guard text message about delay, that's just political tacticism. And you know, both sides are doing it. The MC did it whenever it was beneficial for us. And, you know, we saw that the other side was stuffing the mics. Obviously, a couple autists were hitting the mics over and over again. Those guys suck. I hate those guys. So we started stuffing the mics and actually moving motions. And it's just all political tacticism whenever you get into convention. It's all strategy right there. So the delay portion, obviously dirty, but politics is a dirty game, my friend. So that's that. I think Josh will agree with me there. And then on the cutting off of presidential speeches, I don't think it was too noticeable. I didn't really notice any extra time.
We were counting. It's okay.
Well, I don't know how much extra they got to speak, but they were planning on giving like 10-minute or 5-minute speeches, and they were cut to 2. So, you know, I think some grace was given to anyone who was there with that. And then what was the other question? Trying to keep track of all three.
How was it decided who was going to debate Vivek, and how was it decided who was going to go before Trump?
Gotcha. Okay, so the vice president thing with Clint, he won the straw poll. So that was how that was decided to go up against Vivek. And I think Dave was already decided as a moderator.
Yeah. So quick question, jump in there before I forget. So I know there was a lot of like arguing and back and forth online about like, oh, how did Clint lose and everything like that, and the reasons why Clint lost. So that straw poll that determined, you know, when he won by like 53% or something like that, was that poll available to non-delegates as well?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we shared it. We shared it on our stream. It was definitely available.
Yeah. All of the straw polls, like I was even getting texts from Lars's campaign because I'm all in for Lars, obviously, all in. But it was sent to everyone. You didn't have to be in the delegation. You just had to open the link. So and that's again a reason that led to Rec believing that he was not going to be doing things, and that's why he decided to party instead, which, you know, That was a mistake.
Bad decision. Bad decision.
Bad decision. It was a mistake. So that's another reason I think they let him go, because he was. I don't know why he went before Trump. I don't know why he was picked before Trump. I actually have a question about that, because he did not win the straw poll, from what I heard. From what I heard, he lost the straw poll, and he should not have been. I think Rec lost the straw poll. I think Chase won. Chase won the straw poll. From what I heard, I could be wrong on that, but so that's another reason why I'm like confused on why he opened up then. But he was already under the influence of the gummy by that point.
Yeah, it was too late.
It was apparent. It was too late. It was too late. And let me say this on the record. I've said this several times. I saw 2 other people ate the same kind of gummy from the same person, completely obliterated. One of them was face down on the one of the RFK tables, and before he was face down on the table, I looked at him and I was like, "Yo, what's up? Haven't seen you in a minute." He was like, "I am fucking high as balls," and I was like, "Okay." That was the first thing he said to me, and he was like, "That gummy was way too strong." So, little foreshadowing that I did not know at that time would ruin the entire fucking presidential election for the Libertarian Party.
All right, so let's kind of, unless anybody has something else to add to that conversation of the shenanigans.
You got anything, Mitch?
Okay.
No, he pretty much summed it all up.
I kind of want to talk about the Vivek debate a little bit. The Vivek debate with Clint and Dave. During the stream, there were a lot of comments, people saying like, this does not look good for, this doesn't look good for the LP. It looks a lot better for Vivek. It looks like it's a podcast. It looks like this is a
conversation than a debate.
Yeah, it was more of a conversation than a debate. So my understanding of it was like Vivek was going to try to sell everybody on Trump, and then whoever we had up there was going to explain why the VP was why the LP choice was going to be better than better than Vivek or anybody else. So how did you guys, like, what happened in that conversation? Do you guys think it was a good conversation? Do you think, like, you guys were saying, like, during the event on the floor, people were standing up, cheering for Clint, that he was hitting bangers. I saw Clint's reaction. He just did an update from his perspective on what the whole event was like. He said it was awesome. But I'm telling you, from online and from having a lot of people in the stream, because during the stream, we had pro-RFK people, we had pro-Trump people, it was a very nice mix of people. It was obviously a lot of LP people because I was poaching the LP stream. But there were a lot of other people in there who reacted and said, this did not look great. So what do you guys think now that some time has passed and you guys have seen some reactions from around? What do you guys think about the overall outcome of the conversation with Vivek? I'm not going to call it a debate anymore because it just wasn't.
So I'll start, since I didn't have anything to say at the end of the last one. I thought it was good. You know what I mean? It's at the end of the day, debates are debates. So you're going to have people who think that Vivek was right, and you're going to have people who thought that Clint was right. Generally, I was more leaning towards Clint, but I have friends who probably thought what you were saying there too. So,
poached meat does taste better. Anybody else want to take a swing at it?
I mean, yeah, I was there. I can tell you what it was like, but go ahead.
All right, yeah, I was going to say, I watched the whole thing. That was like one of the things that I really wanted to see from the weekend, outside of to see how everyone reacted to Trump, but I'm sure we'll touch on that. But the quote unquote debate between Vivek and Clint was definitely more of a conversation. And I wouldn't even say that anyone was dunking on anyone, really. Vivek came and he said a lot of things, a lot of good things. And then when he was pushed on certain things, what did he do? He did the politician thing. And at certain points, Dave and Clint kind of tried to nudge him a little bit, but they weren't overly hostile or combative with him, because I think legitimately the two of them are friendly with Vivek. And I think Vivek is closer to us than probably anyone else that is in Trump's orbit right now. And we would hope, I would think, that he has a lot of influence on this upcoming administration if and when Trump wins. But I like Vivek. My whole thing is I'm not ever 100% sure he believes what he's saying, like most politicians, but at the very least he's saying all the right things. Yeah. Go ahead, Mitch. What?
No, it's just like he's saying all the right things, but did you notice at the end how he kind of dodged the drug war question?
Well, yeah. Well, that's one of the things that definitely he wanted to focus on. The whole thing was like, well, fentanyl. Like he has his patented answer on the drug war when it comes to fentanyl and everything like that. I don't think he wants to end the drug war at all. I'm sure that he'd probably be more open to decriminalizing certain things. He's already said he wants to decriminalize like ketamine, psilocybin, things like that for medical use, which is in the right direction. Yeah, he said that.
He said that?
And he says he has said that many times. So that is in the right direction, and having someone on a Republican ticket or in a Republican place of power, people saying that is always in the good direction. I don't think they're ever going to completely get off of the war on drugs until, certain things. It's kind of like the whole, like, we'll never have open borders until we get rid of the welfare state. Well, they're never going to end the drug war until X, Y, and Z is met. And, I think that's pretty standard. And if he wants to continue to play in Republican politics, he has to stick in that lane. And at least that can't verbalize certain things. Like there are certain questions I can't, like off the top of my head, I can't exactly pinpoint exactly which one it was. But some of the lines, like when they asked him, when Dave kind of gave him the little like, which country are we talking about that has influence over our politics or whatever? And then he kind of had to sidestep that a little bit and then talk about giving foreign aid to all nations and to Ukraine and doing things like that. He can't specifically say Israel because he's in the fucking Republican Party and he wants to be, he actually wants to win maybe down the road and maybe he wants to run for president down the road. I think his biggest, I can't remember exactly who said it. I think it was Captain Ancapistan. He had a really good post on Twitter about it. But saying how Vivek is really just kind of setting himself to try and take the mantle from the MAGA people after Trump is done with his next term.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious.
And you can't do that by shitting on Trump in any way. So you have to be very political and very precise with what you say. And he is very precise with everything that he says. But yeah, no, I think it was a very good conversation. I think he agrees with most of us on more things than we disagree with him on. And I can only hope that he has as much influence on the Trump administration as he possibly can. Even though he probably will not be VP.
100%. I really hope he is VP.
Real quickly, on the topic of Trump's VP, so I did get to talk to Tim Pool over the weekend. Unfortunately, he's too big for the Swampcast, so that ain't ever gonna happen. I didn't even bring that shit up, but I didn't fucking try. I knew that wasn't going anywhere. But one thing that
did you ask him to come on the Swampcast? Because I saw
because he got scared.
I'm not embarrassing myself like that.
Fucking bitch. You should have asked him. You should have asked him, dude.
You did well, Mitch. You did.
You
well.
miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Tim had more important shit to deal with. I wasn't even gonna try. I knew what he would say.
What is more important than our podcast?
We'll get to what Spike talked about later too, because I have some stuff to talk about with Spike Cohen. When it comes to Spike Cohen. But anyways, Tim Pool, he had a point about Trump that I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say. His thought was, if Trump selects someone like Marco Rubio, that means he's cut a deal with the deep state.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, that or Nikki Haley. I don't know if it means he cut a deal, but it means he's not going like full, vengeance.
It means never going to go full vengeance.
It means exactly what everyone on the Libertarian side saying is he's going to get in there with good big promises, and then he's not going to do shit. He's gonna continue all the wars, not end any, but he's gonna continue all the wars and spend big money. That's what everyone's saying. He's just not going to keep the big promises.
Did we forget who his last VP was?
Exactly.
No.
Ray Bannon?
So if he does pick Rubio or Nikki Haley, that confirms that Trump has been
sold out.
Trump has been secured by the deep state.
President of Pfizer?
Yeah.
Josh, what was your thoughts on the Vivek thing?
Were you there? Were you in the? Did you? Were you?
No, I was busy running errands for someone else, unfortunately. But
the Termont campaign. You were trying to run errands for the Termont campaign.
No, for somebody else.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway,
he was hotboxing the damn.
Was it the RFK campaign?
Nope. No. I wish I could say that actually.
You were getting Rectenwald high, you motherfucker.
No.
He was.
That's what I was gonna say. He was dosing the gummy. He put ketamine in it. There you go.
Was that why
Worst
he was floating on
tranquilizers.
stage for a good 30 seconds before he hit the mic? He was just like, yeah.
But I got to see like highlights of like the Vivek and like the Clint shit, and like the first thing I thought was, God damn, Clint just got fucking mopped by Vivek, like just completely mopped up. Like it looks more like bros hanging out on a podcast than an actual debate. And I think we've all said this here, so I'm not gonna like beat that dead horse, but. I mean, you were supposed to be the guy that was supposed to spit hot liberty fire, and instead you kind of like, handheld with Vivek along with the show. And I mean, Dave kind of saved the day a little bit at times, but if it probably would have been better off if those roles for Dave and Clint were reversed, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't think anyone's gonna.
What
argue
debate
that.
did you watch?
Was it just the optics that made it look like a podcast because they were sitting down, and because Vivek does agree with us on a number of points, and then we just kind of have to redirect him into the libertarian direction. Like, to be honest, would you rather watch a traditional debate that's on presidential debate that's on CNN or Fox, or would you rather listen to a long-form podcast conversation where people have points and they disagree with each other? Because that's the way we're moving, and that's the superior way. Like, Clint did mop the floor with him, and I was in the room on the ground, obviously, drinking a lot, and when Clint hit those points, we went wild. I can speak Pat. Pat was in there. We were going absolutely crazy. It was an awesome thing to be there in person, and I'm sorry that didn't translate through, but even if it seemed more like a podcast, it was still a debate. They still disagreed with each other. It's just not the traditional way we like to look at it.
All right. Well, so from the outside watching it live on stream, obviously, yes, Clint was going to get some more of the applause lines because he was in his element. But the one time he got heated talking about Trump or whatever, that was like the one time I could say like maybe like Clint was like trying to like bring it and like trying to win a debate. But other than that, it seemed like a conversation because most of the time, like, he would say something, Vivek would answer him, and then he would be like, yeah, I agree with that. I heard that many times throughout the conversation.
That's what somebody said. That's what somebody said that's what Magoo said. He said it was the I agree part that made it sound like a podcast. Like everybody kept saying, well, I agree with you, but this, or I agree with you, but that. And like whatever. I think the biggest zinger of the night for a positive for LP was when Clint said, people campaign like Ron Paul, but govern like John McCain.
Yeah. You talk like you're Ron Paul, but then govern like you're.
Yeah. It's like zingers like that were better. I think the one thing that would have made it better would be, would have been a moderator that would actually keep people on point instead of just turning it into a conversation. I get it that like we like the conversations and stuff, but it is like the conflict. That's why that's what the whole thing is supposed to be about. Like, what is the separation? You're telling us that we have to vote for Trump because he's the only option, but we're telling you there's all these fucking problems, and we want to see that conflict take place and have some movement there, but it just didn't manifest. That was my perception of the thing.
And I thought it did, man. Sorry, just one last. I thought it did manifest because the redirection is like, yes, but that's all libertarian agreements. Even with Democrats, it's like, yes, but
no,
not the government.
If you say you should pay property taxes, I say, no, fuck you. You have no right to my property. No, it's not yes, but I think it should be lower. No, that's not how it works.
No, listen, if someone like Kennedy identifies a problem and you're like, yeah, that is a problem, and then they go, but the solution is, funding this federal bureaucracy. You go, no, I agree with you, it's a problem, but funding it through privatized solutions is how we view it. I think that's how the entire conversation went.
Yeah,
I really didn't hear Clint say that at all.
I don't think there was a lot of disagreement between them.
I agree with you, but this.
Yeah, I didn't hear him say anything about like privatizing things that Vivek was not agreeing with him already on.
No, obviously not. I'm talking. Right. That was more on the Democrat side of things, like just generally speaking.
Okay,
Yeah. So. Anyway, that was
Let's all take a shot. Let's all take a shot. It's about
I am not fucking taking a shot. I'm going to keep drinking. Because if you wanted us to take a shot, you should have bet. Okay?
I don't know. I would have lost. I would have said wreck probably.
Yeah.
For that. I mean
I would have
honestly,
been fine taking more of your money. That's fine.
I know. And
Yeah,
I
right?
tried to, do it, but Tim said no. And I honestly was feeling Chase the whole time. Like, he got
What?
me and Josh. Yeah, I was feeling. Me and Josh got pretty heated during that last round. Josh came up to me and was like, "Are you scared now? Are you feeling it?
Yeah,
Tell your
of course
boy to
he's
come
gonna
on.
talk shit.
Tell
What do
your
you
boy-
think, dude?
Tell your boy to cool off." And I was like, "Dude,
My
I can't do that. I don't. You think I have that kind of sway? I'm curious, who would Mike Termott have wanted for VP?
That's a good
If
question.
If Mike, okay, so let me present you an alternative timeline real quick,
Cheers, though. Cheers.
if I may. If I may. So I think people, when we talk about all this with who would Mike Termott want to be, and everything leading in with the Mises Caucus, is we forget that Mike started running before Reno. Even in 2022, he announced he was going to run. I remember telling Heist, "Hey, I know you're going to do the Dave Smith thing. I'm not asking you to support Mike. What I'm asking you to do is, if God forbid Dave Smith gets hit by a bus and this doesn't work out, keep him in your back of your mind." Didn't work out that way, as we can tell from the cards, but in an alternative timeline, if that would have been a Mike supporter, we still would have ran with Clinton.
Okay. But if he's not a Mises candidate, and it's not Clinton, like you think he would have been with Clinton?
If I'll put it like this: if Michael Heiss and the Mises Caucus would have gone like abort, we're gonna just back fucking Termott, between us and the dudes that already have their back, we can push him across the finish line and beat Chase. We would have been absolutely comfortable turning around, and we talked about this for weeks leading in, because we thought this was going to be what actually happened, and went, okay, well, we'll basically go and tell Mike, like, hey, thanks for the help. We'll back Clinton now. Or Rectenwald, if Rectenwald even had wanted to do it. We would have taken him along for the ride. This had been talked about for weeks leading in. And I know there was people who had discussed it internally with the Mises Caucus as well, that, hey, if you guys can help us, but it got ignored, allegedly, from all of my understanding, because I was not there.
Well, I mean, he was supposed to be the VP for Rec. That was the deal that was turned on.
Yeah.
Then why did Michael Heiss say directly on the floor that we already have our ticket then? I was right there, verbatim heard
Heiss was no.
Otherwise.
Heiss was trying to get in that circle. Chase and his goonies were blocking him. I saw it too. I was on the floor there too.
Yes, that was before the circle. We walked up.
Hang on, Josh. Hang on.
We
Because
saw
already
stuff, man. We saw shit.
You said this earlier, so I have to address it. Heiss, all he needed to do was confirm with Clint that it was okay, and Clint needed a second to think about it. He even addressed this on his
And
Liberty
Clint even
Lock Pod.
said yes.
I'm going to let you guys fight, but I have something I want to say on this, so keep going.
That's it. No, that's it. Clint said
that
yes.
was it. That's it.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
And obviously Josh, Mike Tremont's his boy, and he has been for 2 years now.
2 years, yeah.
Since the Broward campaign, at least, yeah.
Exactly. So I think, like, if he was there with him talking to Heiss on the floor, I think he would know what he was saying.
I mean, I was there too. I saw what transpired as well, and I knew going into it that we had been in talks with the Termott campaign, and for months they were saying that if it came down to that final round, that he would flip his supporters to the Mises Caucus, so we would avoid a woke leftist, chase, and that was talked about for months.
For all the photos I saw during the convention, him and Chase were pretty buddy all weekend long. So
that's why I'm saying the Termott campaign was telling the Mises Caucus one thing: they did politics. They did politics, and they did politics well, and that's something the Mises Caucus has to get used to.
Obviously,
way better than the Mises Caucus did.
Go ahead.
And let me tell you, there was so much more politics going on behind the scene. This was a wild, somebody should make a movie about this fucking convention, in 15, 20 years.
Well, we need all sides. We need all the emails and all the we need all sides of the story.
I'm already working on some sort of documentary type thing, like Dark Side of the Ring.
I couldn't imagine if all of everything that ever happened. I can't imagine how much fucking wild shit would be fucking unearthed.
Well, I'll tell you what I saw. What I saw was Mike going out. Like you said, Mike was campaigning for 2 years for this. He ever since the Broward campaign went down, he was like, I'm running for president. I'm putting 100 G's on it. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing this
Even
for
when
2
Dave
years.
was our guy. Even
Pile
when Dave
the
was our
fuck
guy.
on. Yes, he was
Even
doing
when
that. And even during the convention, even during the national convention, you saw him go on stage and say, I am the candidate that will fulfill the Mises strategy. He kept saying that. He kept saying like the Mises vision or whatever the fuck it was. He was playing to the Mises people every step of the way. He was playing both sides of the fence, mind you. He was when he would talk to a Chase supporter, he would say, look, I agree with everything Chase says. I just think I'm better at doing it. When he talked to Mises people, hey, I agree with everything that Heiss has put together and all this kind of stuff. I just think I'm the better guy for it. He was being a good politician in that way. When he got on stage, he said what he said. But one thing that I heard, and I want to get Josh's perspective on this because I think he would be the best one to answer it, and then whoever else wants to take the other side of it. But when he made that announcement, because I remember during the live stream, we're sitting there, we're waiting,
That announcement was out of order. Should not have been made. That announcement
Shut up!
was way out of order.
Rob,
we're sitting there on the live stream.
That's fucking saying.
He got eliminated, and we're all sitting in the chat like we're running polls. We're saying like, who do you think's gonna win? What's gonna happen next? And I heard Mike. I heard him go to the microphone, and I was like, that sounds like Mike Termott. Y'all need to get ready. Some shit's gonna happen. I just heard Mike Termott. This is gonna change the day. And what he said when he got to the microphone was, I got like a lot of things about it, but we have a disagreement on strategy. We have a disagreement on strategy is what he said when he got to the mic. And I was asking the question in the chat, what is the disagreement on strategy? Because from everything that I heard, Mike agreed with the Mises Caucus as far as strategy goes. Local. You know, we got to decentralize everything. We got to, this whole thing, have radical messaging. That was kind of the vibe that I was getting from my conversations with Mike and his whole campaign. So what was the disagreement on strategy? And the one thing that I thought it might be is Mike actually thinks he has a chance to fucking win this. And the Mises Caucus people have always said from the beginning that we have no shot at winning. We need a great messenger who's going to inspire people to liberty. Josh, am I wrong about that? Does Mike think he can actually fucking win this thing?
No, but, and I think I was actually the one who said it, and this is why I couldn't get behind Rectenwald personally, and this is just strictly personally, is that, and people are about to hate me, and I'm going to laugh at this, but Michael Rectenwald is the antithesis of everything that the Mises Caucus stood for. And a lot of these people who came in between 2020 and 2022 going into Reno came in because Joe Jorgensen was a sad, sorry, pathetic, fucking boring college professor of a candidate. And what did the Mises Caucus do to inspire and ignite the liberty movement and the Ron Paul revolution? They pick a fucking another boring ass fucking college professor with an even more boring fucking goddamn fucking lefty fucking degree. Holy shit. You guys couldn't have picked the worst fucking person to represent the fucking Ron Paul revolution. A fucking former commie Marxist who was a fucking MAGA socialist. The fucking complete antithesis of everything we stood for. At least Mike Termott had a fucking PhD in economics. God damn. Fucking boring ass Rectenwald reading off of fucking scripts during debates. He had nothing fucking original to say. Michael Heiss had his hand up his ass like a fucking Muppet. Boring as fuck. He was the antithesis of everything we worked for.
Mm-hmm.
All
Amen.
right.
You got a lot of people.
Sorry,
And you know what?
Yeah.
And you know what? To a certain
ahead,
degree, I agree with you, Josh. But I do want to ask you one thing because I thought Tim was going in this direction. As far as the strategy part, what was the disagreement that Mike Termott had?
Are you asking me?
No. I'm asking Josh. What
the same? I'll
what's the
answer.
strategy? Yeah.
The same reason you have an issue with Chase. You guys are too focused on identity fucking politics and commie Marxist fucking bullshit.
So that was the strategy?
Nobody cares.
So
about
you go with commie Marxist bullshit instead of the
people
Mises
care
Caucus,
about the
which is way
fucking
more based.
You guys aren't talking about Austrian economics anymore. You're talking about stupid ass fucking leftist shit that they want you to talk about.
He literally talked about Austrian economics his entire campaign.
So
like,
did Mike.
just
But
because
he actually has an
just-
economics PhD.
okay, and like
He's
you're acting like
he's
Mike
brought a
is.
novel fucking thought to the field of economics. Michael
We're-
Rectenwald brought some novel fucking thoughts to the field of English literature.
We're gonna sit here and pretend like Mike Termott is that much more exciting than Michael Rectenwald, or even Chase Oliver is that much more exciting than Michael Rectenwald. We're not gonna get over fucking 2% of the vote this year. None of the candidates on that stage.
None of the candidates on that
stage were exciting. None of the candidates on that stage were exciting at all. Besides Josh Smith. Josh Smith was the only one that was truly like a good messenger. But
can we get a drink for Josh? Dude. Pour one out.
And Rob, and here's the thing. Mike Tremont, Chase Oliver, Lars, all these people, they weren't running as the Mises.
Don't be talking shit about
They
Lars.
weren't running as the Mises Caucus candidate. And like Josh said, and I said it too, is like the whole like message of the Mises Caucus when it started and when it was supposed to be is decentralize, focus on local, and get a charismatic figurehead that could spit that liberty shit. And who did they settle on? The man that cannot spit that liberty shit. He can barely say his fucking name without stuttering over himself. You know,
that's all.
So, like you said,
Look, hey,
that
okay,
flew
okay,
in the face
okay.
of everything that the Mises Caucus was supposed to be. It's like, I get
Guys.
it. Your boy, you got left at the dance, and you had to take home the fattest, ugliest chick because you wanted to get some pussy at the end of the night.
Going hogging at 3 a.m.
Look, Rec.
You went hogging at 3 a.m.
Guys, look.
Yeah. You don't have to act like she's a fucking supermodel, and you don't have to act like she's the one that you wanted to take home.
But she's
you
my
can't try to say that she was, okay? Miss Piggy was never going to be fucking Miss America, all right? So the fact that people try to blow rainbows up people's asses trying to make it seem like it was is why people got fucking pissed about Michael Rectenwald doing his thing.
And I understand that, but that was the guy. And look, I got to know Michael Rectenwald a few times throughout his campaigning here in Florida and at the national convention. He's a fucking good guy, man. At the end of the day, he's not a politician. He's a professor, and he's not used to all these politicking games. And I like to know him as a good guy. That means a lot to me. I mean, Josh probably got to know Mike Termott. I like Mike Termott a lot. You know, this is kind of sour grapes for me that he gave us his word and turned his back on us. But other than that, I thought he was a good guy beforehand, but now I can't really trust him. It's like one of those things where you get to know a person and you're like, okay, I'm comfortable running this guy as my candidate. He's not the Dave Smith or Spike Cohen we wanted. And but now it's not a unified party at all. Now
honestly, Mike can go fuck himself.
You guys got to be following the chat, man.
I'm trying to look. It's popping off. I want to thank everyone for being in the chat. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Let's get to 500 people.
Yo, Max caught it too. Moore's up here. He's like, from Dave Smith to Rectenwald. Come on, man. That dude couldn't rizz up a prostitute. Come on, dude. Yo.
Like, I'm sorry, boys, but like we have, once again, when we all joined the Mises Caucus, every single one of us here, when we joined, there was a solid unspoken rule in the caucus that we were honest with ourselves and with each other, even when it hurt, even when it was wrong, even when it didn't benefit us to be honest with each other and with ourselves. And the reality is that there was maybe a small, but it was a very strong wing of the Mises Caucus who feels the same way I do, didn't quit the party. And honestly, hey, this is the reality of the situation we're in now. We can either complain, whine, and bitch, or like Rob, you can actually double down that, hey, I think I have the better strategy and compete. I'm not mad about people being upset at Mike. Yes, politics were played. I said this literally, I think, Duke, you saw this on Twitter. I said this a week, 2 weeks before going into the convention. Whether people realize it or not, and for maybe the first time, if ever, in LP history, there is actual politics going on. And I think a lot of people were wholly unready for it. I'm sorry, Rob, you can keep telling me that Heist had to go confer with Clint, but that should have been done round 5 before Mike was even bounced. That should have already been handled and discussed. Hey, on the off chance,
I mean,
look,
we all know your camp decided to go with Chase months earlier. That's the politicking of it all. You guys knew because you're working with the Cordovas, you're working with the long strips, and you're working with the Moss scripts. Everyone moved into Florida. We know the people you're working with, Josh. They're a bunch of lefties, and that's why we know y'all are fucking dirty as shit. We know what you decided beforehand, bud. It might not have been you.
Let's get it out, boys. Just get it out.
Yeah. Bro, you have voted against us at every single turning point in the floor. That's why I left the fucking EC, and that's why I'm gonna leave my position, because I'm gonna handle this at the national level, because Florida has been taken over by a bunch of woke fucking lefties, dude. By a bunch of woke fucking lefties.
And this is the problem is, Rob, you're not listening to the rest of the membership who's telling me, like, what the fuck are we doing?
Because the rest of the membership wants to vote for a kid who wants to vote for a guy who wants to trans kids and fucking say companies can fire you if you don't want to take the vaccine. Fuck y'all.
Let's go. Bring the heat. I don't have my spicy pants on. Let's go.
I got you.
The takeover's still going to happen, Josh. And you know what? We got 2/3 of the party. Let's see what fucking happens.
There's a lot of people agreeing with Rob, so go ahead, hit back. Let's go. Let's fight.
I mean, he can name drop all of the people I know. Like, I still love that everybody wants to tell me about Eric Cordova, even though I've known Eric longer than everybody in this.
Eric was cool. Combined. Eric was cool when he came on the stream. He didn't like the Jew jokes, but he was cool.
Eric is fine.
Eric's a nice guy.
Eric's fine with me.
I've known
he
Eric,
just is a Chase guy.
He was still trying to figure out if he even was a libertarian. No, he was a Termot guy. We all have to play the game.
So he chose Chase in the moment when he could have chose.
Let me tell you.
Or Rectenwald,
if you actually have paid attention to the Cordovers, let me tell you the stinky face they all had when it was okay. We have, Mike is partnering with Chase. Nobody was happy about it, but the deal was made and we played politics. I'm sorry, it's a blood sport, like Duke said over here. Unfortunately, we had the scepter of power. Somebody didn't want to kiss the ring, so we beat you over the head with it. Welcome to the game, man. It happens. You move on. You get better from it.
20 more seconds and the ring would have been kissed.
No. Here's the thing, Josh.
20 more seconds was had in the 5th round.
Here's the thing, Josh.
You had almost an hour with how much the CLC was slowing shit down.
Yeah. No, they were a bunch of retards. But here's the
unlike
thing.
you guys, I actually went over and said some shit to Jonathan Casey and tried to broker a deal because I was worried that if Rectenwald got there, we would have been there till 4 a.m.
Nope. Josh, I was in the chat and I said the Mike Termot voters are not backing down. If we do not bow down to them, we are gonna get Chase. I said that. I said as much as that in the chat in the.
And who told you? And who told you hold the line?
No, but here's the thing, Josh.
But he's not there anymore. You can say his name.
No, yeah, you don't have to dodge the question. You're good.
Because there was multiple people saying, "Hold on," because we had more numbers.
Mitch did it. It's his fault.
Mitch is always the little man.
We had more numbers than Termot, and so here's the thing: Termot has the decision. Does he go with us and choose to be with a based candidate and a base strategy, or does he go with Chase, who wants to trans the kids? Mike Termot made that decision. Mike Termot and his supporters made that decision. Not us. That's y'all. That's on you.
Since you guys are in the circle and everything like that, how many people in the MC working for Rec and everything were never Mike Termot people because he was a cop, and would never do anything to support him because he was a Fed and a cop?
Yeah, there were definitely a few people like Dave Casey. Dave Casey's the most public about it, but there's definitely a lot of people that agree.
I know Dave Casey, Eric Sawyer are big, or not Eric Sawyer.
Ben Weir, even
there's people in the chat. People in the chat. Names you'd recognize. Me. So.
I would say maybe 20 to 30%, but that never struck a chord with me because my dad was a cop. It might
not have struck a chord with you, but a lot of people in the MC it did.
Yeah,
they were really not liking him.
Duke, I think you're hitting to the core of the reason why Termot swung his votes to Chase. It's because of the Fed rhetoric. It's because 2 years the MC, and people started talking shit about Mike, saying you're a Fed, you're dirty, you're a fucking cop. I think he took that personally, and I think that's why he went to Chase.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
I think it's totally understandable. Like,
But don't act
mean,
like it wasn't
Now
decided
that the
beforehand.
Band-Aid has
That's
been
what I'm
ripped
saying.
off,
You
I haven't said anything before. I mean,
Don't act like it wasn't
Cam.
decided beforehand. That's all I'm saying.
No,
Y'all knew what you were gonna do last minute. You knew what the numbers were, and you knew
Oh.
Lars was going to Chase.
all right, I want to lighten things up a little bit, and Josh, maybe you can answer this. What the hell is wrong with Mike, and why can't he change his tagline on Twitter to libertarian instead of
God.
libertarian? What the
We're
fuck,
getting-
dude?
we're drafting
He finally
libertarian
did.
For summertime 2024, baby. No, Twitter Blue is
Spell
evil.
prejudice
I'm gonna
immediately.
kidnap Elon Musk.
sure,
and-
blame it on Twitter. Yeah, of course. It's all the social media's fault.
Uh-huh. All I'm gonna say is if you have Twitter Blue,
You said
make
it was
sure
fixed. It's not fixed.
Make sure you proofread your shit before they lock it to re-verify.
Dude, this shit is still right here.
That's so fucking funny.
It says
You blame it on
libertarian.
No.
Twitter, but you have no one to blame but yourself.
I can't
No,
join it.
that is a complete. That is on.
That's on
that
Mike.
is on
You know he
us.
handles his own
That-
Twitter.
No,
Come on, dude.
no, I know exactly who did it. I'm not gonna throw my people under a bus. All I'm gonna say is
I threw my
Ah.
people under the bus. Come on, you gotta say it. You gotta say it. I threw my
Nah.
people under the bus.
Say it with your chest.
I said
Come
it.
on.
We released
finding it, Joe.
Gummy-gate. We broke Gummy-gate live at the convention. You can at least say who the fuck's responsible for the Libertarian Party, because I can't join it because I'm
Repeat
ginger.
it. Repeat who is responsible for Gummy-gate.
Jeff Douglas is responsible for Gummy-gate.
No.
Ah, there we go.
I know.
Let's go.
Has any high member of the MC done more to fuck over the MC than Jeff Douglas has?
He works so hard to get us involved, though, and
I love
you know
how
what?
Mitch drops out at that moment.
Look, because it was already out there, and if people want to know, they can go watch the live stream that got the most views on our channel ever. But I ran into Jeff Douglas after the Trump talk, and I've already told this to the guys here, but basically I was like, yo, what's up? He was like, oh, I just gave Rec this gummy. Let's go watch. And I was like, oh, it's going to be so fun. Not fun. And the Kim can confirm. He can confirm it was not fun at all. I was looking at Jeff, and he was like, guy's a rookie. Can't handle it.
It's always like the most libertarian thing possible.
But you know what? Rec was saying in our own internal communiques that he had been smoking a puff or two of weed before, like going up and talking and debating, and it helped him like clear his mind and find his words and stuff like that and relax him. He just wasn't used to the 5-methoxy metabolite that it turns into whenever it gets digested into your liver. So he was not ready for the gummy. And like I said, that gummy was powerful. More than 2 people got.
Yeah, Mitch
obliterated
laced it
on
with ketamine. Of course it was
Yeah,
powerful.
Those edibles can get you violently high at times.
But high enough to not be presidential nominee.
No, we're having fun and everything like that.
Of course,
but
yeah.
Honestly, I don't think that had anything to do with him losing.
It didn't help.
It did. I talked to a couple of Florida people who were like, I was okay with him after Friday morning, but then Saturday night he just self-destructed, and I was like, yeah. So I think it contributed a little bit, at least, and a little bit was all we needed.
True. Very true.
Mitch, your internet
Mitch just
sucks,
has
dude.
his AIDS right now. It's really
He got the
sad.
AIDS, bro.
terrible.
He got
Goodness.
the AIDS.
Walmart connection.
I'm glad we're getting all this out, boys, because Josh, I love you. Duke, I love you.
too.
Yeah,
And-
man.
Yeah, man, and we're all in this together. Really, I'm sticking around, and I hope that if you're with the Mises Caucus, you stick around too. Make the party better. Make the party better, man. You're not going to make it better by leaving. That's exactly what the haters did during the takeover. Don't leave. I don't understand.
Exactly.
Well, no, see, here's the thing that this weekend proved. Those haters didn't leave. There's still enough of them around.
No, I think Lars brought his own delegates to the convention. I think Chase brought his own delegates to the convention, and
Yeah, and
I'm
they're part of the party.
yeah, no, I don't think they're. Josh's credentials, so you can tell us how if they're
Let me-
new members or old members.
Let me just put it like this here, is that de-caucusing for a while gave me a like wild amount of access to things in the party that I was not privy to, and allowed me to enter circles that I would have never been welcome in.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side was just better organized this year. You know, the Mises Caucus had their own parliamentarian. They had their own parliamentarian. The Mises Caucus had their own comms and setups. They had their own comms and setups. Everybody came in with a strategy. It wasn't like Reno, where the other side got caught flat-footed by us because we came in and just decided to wreck house. And just quite frankly, like, they just played the politics game better this year. I don't think they didn't win overall in the end. You know, I honestly think in the big scope of things, their victories were, you know, small but significant for them in the same, if that makes any sense. But the reality is, and Rob said this, is that, you know, if you're a Mises Caucus person and you're that concerned about, oh no, the party's going to shit, like, I thought we had actually more than Rob's saying 2/3. I thought the Mises Caucus had 3/4 of the board.
Yeah,
like, I didn't really look
yeah.
at the region lists.
I
but,
said
like,
it's not more. It's more than 2/3, for sure. More
Yeah,
than
that's what I'm
2/3.
like. You know,
And wait, Josh, we're talking about a presidential candidate that's going to run for 5 months, not win, obviously. And then we got the board who's on there for 2 years, and you're going to call that a loss for the Mises Caucus? I'm sorry, guys, but fucking get a grip. We weren't going to win the presidential election. We weren't going to get more than 3% unless we ran Kennedy.
No.
And that's the reality of it.
Well,
Mhm.
it's a loss because so much of the strategy and so much of the energy was put into running a presidential candidate in 2024 and getting that person up there to be the Mises Caucus torchbearer that is going to be the new figurehead of the Libertarian Party, to put the stamp on the Libertarian Party, and that person is not there. So yes, you may have done very well on the LNC. And like I said, congratulations to you getting on there. Congratulations to Angela being on there, and everyone else that was on there that pulled it out. And yeah, y'all have 2 years to try and right the ship in some way and actually like build momentum back up. But the stated goal was a presidential candidate in 2024 to spit that liberty shit, quote unquote. And that did not happen. So that is a failure. You can find silver linings in the failure. There's always silver linings in failure, and you learn from failure. But it was an abject failure.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not a total loss. I don't think it's a total loss. Duke, you're completely right. Our figurehead does not match what any of the Mises Caucus wants. Obviously, Chase is not that guy. And you know what? Mike Termott, people are to blame for that, I would say. And Mises Caucus people are to blame for that as well. But when you got 25% of the vote and you tell all your delegates to go to the Chase side, you picked a side. You were the deciding factor there. That's on y'all.
And that's politics.
That's
Mitch, I haven't
politics.
heard from you in a while. You've been gone for a little while, Mitch.
It's a dirty game,
right?
And it is a dark side to all of it, man.
So
Right.
Termott-
Honestly, when
side
it comes to
horse to
Termott,
the
if I ever see Termott at a convention again, I'm going to tell him to go fuck himself.
No, I mean, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Termott's a good guy. Termott just played politics. And here's the thing. A lot of us Mises Caucus
Well,
members,
exactly. And
I mean-
for me, I'm here because
we're anarchists. We don't believe in
Let
politics.
him speak. Let him speak.
I
Mitch
mean,
hasn't had a chance to speak for a little
I just made my point.
Say it
All you
again.
had.
Say it
But
again.
no. I actually did have a little bit more to say, other than just I liked Mike before this. I have no interest of taking him seriously at all after this. But hell, I hope that the new Libertarian Party does well.
Me too.
Good luck, officer.
And Josh won't say who did it. What a fag. What a fag.
Well, it's because he's still a part of a presidential campaign ticket.
And you know what? I was willing to hop on Termott's campaign, and VP campaign, had he not done what he did and gave his word and then turned his back. So
That's your prerogative.
yeah. But as an officer, it is my duty to support the LP and its candidates.
All right, let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for a second. All right, so since you are on the LNC and you are an officer of the Libertarian National Convention, how do you feel about some of these calls from people within the MC that MC members of the board not support the presidential ticket? Publicly not support the presidential ticket. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that in politics, we need to be more like the Democratic Party. And someone said this to me. I wish I could give them credit, but I don't remember who it was. Someone said to me, they fight just as much as we do, in-house fighting. But at the end of the day, Bernie Sanders says, I'm not the presidential candidate. I endorse Hillary Clinton for this and that.
Was it Mitch? Mitch is saying it was him.
It wasn't Mitch, because
Oh, okay.
I would give Mitch credit for it, but it was someone else.
I'm just fucking around.
It's like a hive mind mentality. And yeah, Chase is woke on a number of issues, but he's still anti-war. He's still a libertarian, and I'm curious to see what his stance is on Ukraine. Apparently, there's some like issue there where he's like saying we should support Ukraine, which I don't agree with. We should get out of that war completely. But other than that, yeah, publicly, I think after convention, air your grievances, but give the man time to clean his fucking Twitter up. Give the man time to clean his slate up and say.
He made a promise. He said 2:30.
There are so many tweets.
There are so many, and then isidewith.com like just kind of went with that. He said his people are trying to change whatever he's saying. So give the man time. And I'm saying, as an LNC member and 3/4 of the LNC's Mises Caucus, hopefully the guy will fucking work with us, because he has been unwilling to in the past. And
Can I say
hopefully
something?
we can say, hopefully we can combine forces and
Before
unite.
you
quickly,
did,
I
before
wanna
you, shit, guys, before you do, did you answer the question? Like, what responsibility do the officers of the party have to the candidate? I think that was basically the question.
Yeah, to support the candidate publicly, and maybe not publicly, but when the candidate comes to the LNC and asks for something, we should try our best to do what's best for the candidate, but also the party. Like if the candidate comes to us and says, "Hey, I want to put out a presser saying that we should bomb Russia," obviously I'm not going to support that, because that goes against the party. That would go against anti-war and shit like that. So it's not like I can give you a straight answer. It's like, if he comes to the LNC and says he wants to do X and Y, if X and Y is in line with the Libertarian Party planks, then yeah, we'll support him.
All right, let somebody else take a swing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if Chase running is anything like when Joe Jorgensen got the nomination, they wanted nothing to do with any of the Jacob Hornberger people. So yeah, I highly doubt the Chase people would want anything to do with any of the Mises people, even while running.
Well, we're on the fucking LNC, so good luck, buddy.
Well,
Hey, I'm speaking from the caucus perspective, not just the LNC perspective.
Go,
Joe
Josh.
Jorgensen didn't want to work with Spike.
Shut up.
Joe didn't even want to work with Spike Cohen, so that's her fault. Spike's
Which
not
we'll
even
get
an
to
MC.
Spike. I still have my Spike news to get.
Okay, Josh.
so I and this is from my lips to God, something that Angela told me directly at one point during the weekend while me and her were working together, was that she wouldn't be completely, like, she knows that Chase, if he ended up as the candidate, would work with them, because she said anytime that she's picked up the phone and called him, he's either picked up or he's called her back in a reasonable amount of time. Because I asked her straight out, like, are you uncomfortable with anybody not, like, being the candidate? And there was one person, and that was it.
And you know what? I've talked to Chase. I talked to Chase in Jacksonville, and we had a great conversation about things we agree on. And so people with this whole Chase derangement syndrome need to calm down, come back to the party, vote who you want to vote for, but understand that, like, what happened because of how our bylaws and presidential selection process is set up. And it's flawed, for sure. But
It feels very archaic.
Yeah, it is obviously. Who's that Freddie? Who's the Freddie guy?
We
Who
at
came-
Swampcast endorse Freddie in anything he attempts to do in the future.
Okay, yeah, that Freddie guy came up just for the reason of saying, this is all bullshit. Y'all are counting on paper. We're going to get you handheld devices so we end all this, like, calculating bullshit. And everyone was like, who's this guy at the beginning? And then at the end, they were like, oh, yeah, Freddie, let's go. That guy.
Freddie.
Yeah, he's awesome. Whoever that guy is, we're going to talk to him. Whoever runs convention committee, I'm going to be like,
we're going to
talk
get
to
the
him.
minion machines. We're going to get
Yeah,
the
there we
minion
go.
machines for
The
grand
election,
raffle.
the next election will be fortified.
And the next election should be, there might have to be a change in the bylaws for this. The next election should be ranked choice voting. Obviously,
Oh
ranked choice
no.
voting.
No,
Oh,
no,
It should be
no.
ranked choice voting.
No.
Ranked choice.
Ranked choice voting is the gayness.
Ranked choice voting would not have given us Chase. It would have given us either Mike Termott or Josh Smith or Rectenwald. Fighting.
No, I don't know.
I like the blood sport.
Fighting.
No. The way that it goes right now is the way that conventions are supposed to go. It's the way that they've gone. It's the way that they used to do it.
The
back
only
in the
change,
Republican
Right now, it's
When we
basically
were a
we're in
proper
the trenches.
society.
the only change that
A
I would
cat-
like to
A
see.
cat got a vote. A cat,
Yeah, that's fine.
Donald Trump,
That's
Afro
fine.
Man, and RFK all got votes on deciding tickets. This is
Fine.
retarded. This is not how political
Ranked choice
parties
voting is
operate.
even more retarded. Ranked choice voting
No,
got
our
us.
party is retarded.
Yeah.
Ew.
Thank you.
Members are retarded.
Thank you.
Who-
Ranked
what
choice voting
cat
is the
got a
most
vote?
retarded. Guess what? Ranked choice voting.
The process is
just-
retarded. The people are retarded.
Yeah, in the bigger scheme of things, ranked choice voting is not going to help the Libertarian Party or third-party candidates at all. It's only going to fuck over more partisan candidates. It guarantees you getting the most establishment, moderate fucking candidate possible. Ranked choice voting is what got Lisa Murkowski reelected in fucking Alaska. If you needed any more goddamn examples of why ranked choice voting is garbage.
Here's my appeal to you. I would have voted.
Or Lisa Murkowski, I know.
No.
You love
Well, I know nothing about Alaskan politics, Duke. I'm sorry. We need Leighton on the show for that.
Yeah. I feel like Leighton's more qualified for this conversation.
Yeah, I would have voted at Saturday at the convention, just inside the Libertarian Party. I would have voted Rec, Termott, Josh, Lars, and then a whole bunch of, and then I'm gay for Belay, and then after that, like Chase at the very bottom.
All right. Well, see, here's my question to you right now. With all these different rounds, you're able to do this politicking and everything, and be able to make deals to get votes and all that stuff. If you did just the ranked choice voting, one ballot
One and
with
done.
everything ranked, how many of those people that voted for Lars and Chase would have left off?
No,
Josh,
because
Rhett, Termott,
because-
all together.
No, because you strategically put who you want in the second and third position, and then we don't have this situation where
And leave
this,
people off your ballot.
yeah, and then where
They would
it-
have left people like Rec off their ballot.
yeah, that's fine, but at the same time, we had
Which-
the biggest portion, the biggest voting portion in the fucking party. And here's the thing. If we do ranked choice voting, we don't get the situation where we have had in the past, like last two or three election cycles, where it's decided in the last round, where one kingmaker party, like the Termott camp and like the other camps, choose to fuck over the Mises Caucus camp.
It's called politics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Better at
That
politics.
Dude,
the
better
ranked
at
choice
politics.
voting eliminates that last
Fear of
round.
war.
No.
You're definitely
me-
in the minority in here, and we're gonna hang you for
Josh.
it. Go ahead, Josh.
Duke, just to even make things a little sweeter here. When we got to the VC race, that should have been a precursor for what was coming here. Obviously, I was going to be the Termott one. Hannah was going to get a bunch of the Mises Caucus who were dead ass loyal, and then Rutherford was going to get everybody else in the middle and the other side.
Can we talk about how much Rutherford looks like a turtle?
Oh my
It
god!
reminds me of
Fucking
Bunsen
Rutherford,
Honeydew.
guys.
I got to work with the guy, so I'm not gonna say anything other than that. I'm gonna be like, dude, you do look like a turtle, though.
He's
Yeah.
a master of disguise.
And he is a master of disguise.
I do think I do think Josh upset that race, though. I think if it was just Rutherford and Hannah Goodman, that I think there was a greater chance that Hannah Goodman would have had it. But I think Josh Halavka pulled the radicals. I do think so. I do think so.
Radicals in Florida.
No, I think Hannah made enemies because she was willing to work with Republicans.
Right, and Josh took all those votes. But if there were only those two options, I think they would have went Hannah.
Rutherford is anti-Mises for sure, and I'm gonna look out for him. But I was curious about Redpath, and we'll get to Redpath after this.
We don't have to talk about the officers; they're irrelevant.
No,
because Redpath.
No, we still haven't even talked about the riot that almost happened.
We haven't talked about the whole Trump thing. We're like an hour into this, and we haven't even mentioned. I mean, we've mentioned Trump, but we haven't talked about his. Yeah.
This is a big podcast, dude. It's the podcast after our biggest podcast.
And I still haven't even gotten to my Spike news.
I'm pretty drunk.
Are you talking about the 2026, 2028? No, just go ahead. What are you talking about, Spike? I'm
was
tired of
save
this.
It for later on, but you know.
Yeah, so we had Spike on the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
He was our last guest, and YouTube fucked us, so we lost it. Are you gonna make the announcement that he made?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so basically Spike Cohen is looking into running in 2028. Or he'll see if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Either way, he'll let us know long in advance. This isn't going to be no last-minute bullshit.
He just came.
He just came, just like Trump.
He said that he didn't run this year because in the chat we were all speculating. We were like, why isn't Spike running? He would totally unify this ticket. Like, why the fuck is he not there? The answer that he gave us on that was the first question I asked him. Rob was so pissed at me. He sat down.
Dude, you didn't even get a picture of it.
It's fine,
I smooth talk Spike into coming on the podcast.
I was fucking with Rob the whole time. Every guest he brought, I asked them questions that made them super uncomfortable.
Hey, Tim, hang on. Hang on. I brought a guy on the podcast who told me he rode a bike from Georgia to DC.
Yeah. What was that guy's name?
And then I don't know, because I got him on the podcast, and he was like, it was a motorcycle. I thought he pedaled a fucking bicycle from Georgia to DC. And I was like, that's commendable. I'll have you on my podcast. And then as soon as we get him on, he's like, it was a motorcycle. Fuck you. Yeah. Georgia delegate, unnamed Georgia delegate, get the fuck out of here.
Rob made an enemy this weekend.
So when Fo came on, we asked her when she's gonna get pregnant. That was apparently inappropriate.
Every time I would bring someone on, Tim would just like hit him. But here's the strategy. This is the new Mises Caucus strategy. We're very nice to you, and we're like, come on our podcast at first.
This is the Mises doesn't. This is the swamp strategy. Okay.
Yeah,
swamp strategy.
This is swamp strategy. We're very nice to you. Be like, hey, we got a bunch of live viewers going on right now. Let's get you on the podcast, answer some questions. Tim hits you with, are you pregnant? Are you gay? Are you this? Are you that? How many drinks do you have a week?
Tim does not give a fuck.
Yeah.
What's she gonna do?
Jack and Fo have sex. Are we even sure of this?
Oh, god damn it. Sure. Well, the uncomfortable question we asked Spike as soon as he sat down, Rob's like Patrick is sitting there talking to us, and he's like, yeah, so this is what's going on. He's like, Spike's coming. And he's like freaking out. And then Rob comes and sits down with Spike. As soon as Spike sits down, so why'd you fuck us, bro? Why didn't you run for president?
It's because he has something important. He's doing something important right now.
I finished my bottle on day 2.
So what was his
no
answer?
problem.
What was his answer as to why he wasn't running this time around? I'm curious to hear if it's different than mine, because he also gave me a time frame that he would announce or tell us that he isn't running.
He probably told you the same thing he told us then. Yeah, he sat down and he said, look, the reason I didn't do it is because I'm focused on You Are the Power, and that needed all of my attention. It's not because I have no interest in running. I just have better shit to do, basically. And so he was working on that. And he said that he is looking at 2028, and he would make the announcement before 2026. Oh, yep. Charles brings up a good point. Despite what all you fuckers think, I got the best guess because I pulled Maj Touré as he was walking by.
which was kind of like the, and I think you should title this podcast this. It was kind of like the Fallout brain when they opened up the vault, and the brain was like, you're not the person I would thought it was, and then
he
got him
did.
into the vault.
He was walking by. I saw him, and I pulled him over quick. I was like, "That's much. That's much." I unmuted everything as fast as possible. I said, "Fuck fascism. Black guns matter." And he came and sat down. He's like, "Yo, what's up?"
What's up? No, dude. I walked up. Hey, that's when I walked up with the dude with the fucking motorcycle.
Yeah, I was like, "Sit the bike boy down. We got Mosh. Hold on."
I was like, Tim got Mosh like via Georgia, and I'm here in person getting this bicycle guy. I might as well try to get Spike Cohen, Susie Q, and a whole bunch of other cool people on the fucking podcast.
So speaking of like reactions after this whole thing, I think Mosh has had one of the best reactions out of everything. He said, "Y'all stop bitching, expect contact. Get ready to fight. If you don't like it, do better. All y'all sitting at home bitching about what happened. You should have showed up. I showed up when there was nothing, and here we are." Like, Maj was throwing it, man. I think he's had one of the best reactions out of this whole thing.
That's 100%. That is 100%. Because when Pat sat down and called every single Florida MC person on our list, you know, we got a whole bunch of excuses, some good, some not so good, and I'm sure that happened all across the state. If you're sitting on your computer bitching and you didn't show up to the convention, that's your own fault.
I'm not bitching. I had one request, not to be embarrassed.
Too fucking bad, Tim. You didn't show up.
We could have had Noda.
Yeah, we could have.
There was several instances where that whole convention could have just completely devolved into nuclear chaos before we even got to the fucking president at all.
That's a good segue into the Trump talk if you want to do it.
Yeah, we haven't gone there.
Yeah,
yet.
there was almost a riot.
There was close to like 3 fights during that whole thing.
You guys have the inside. Okay, here's how I think we should do it. I think we should talk about the stuff that happened on the floor, and then when we get to the outside perception and then the overall outcome, I think we transition to Josh, and then, or not Josh, I mean Duke. I want to see like Duke. Anyway, this is what happened on the floor with Starchild. We had Starchild on the podcast shortly after. You guys were there. What happened?
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. Were you in there? Were you in the building?
Did you? Yeah.
I was in the building. I didn't really see too much of it happen, but from what I did see, it looks like Starchild was standing on a chair, and then he was not standing on a chair.
Yeah, we watched
standing on a chair.
I
saw him throw up like some sheet with something written on it, but I didn't get to read it.
Yeah, it's a banner. Don't call it a sheet. It's a banner. It's not a sign. It's a banner.
Probably it could have been he was holding up a banner. I'm not gonna say.
If you misidentify Starchild's physical speech, we're gonna have a fucking problem on this podcast. Okay. He let us know what it was.
So I think the Starchild thing, it was, I think it was self-provoked. I think he knew what he was doing, and he wanted to get dragged out. That's what I think.
I have a very inside story for you.
You were inside Starchild?
Yeah.
Starchild was inside.
He's not your stepsister.
Oh no, he paid. You paid for the privilege. What's up?
Starchild was inside me figuratively. I understood what he was going through. Here's the thing.
Oh no.
Here's I'm a little drunk, but I'm gonna let you guys know who are watching live what happened. Hopefully, we can cut this in the full episode because
I may or
I
may
don't want
not
to get in trouble. Here's the thing, Tim. I am in a new position, and I don't want to get removed from my position.
Stop preaching. What?
Shut up about it.
Then yeah, you should probably be safe about that.
If you're worried about being removed from a position for saying something, we're not cutting it from the stream.
Okay,
right.
fuck you guys.
I'll defend you.
You know what? Here's the thing. I'm going to be fully transparent throughout my entire tenure on the LNC. And here's what happened. Starchild brought a banner, not a sign, brought a banner into the Trump thing that said Trump is a warmonger, whatever it said. And after all the hard work that our chair, Angela McArdle, did to get the Trump people to move so the delegates could sit down, Starchild was standing on a chair. Angela simply told the security to make sure he's not standing on the chair. Did not tell them to
Angela got
assault.
Wait, are you saying
Starchild.
Angela got Starchild removed?
Yes, kind of.
I love Reeve.
Oh, interesting.
I was listening to Styx and Hammer talk about stuff recently where he's like, the LP has a problem where they just won't go in for the kill to clean up their own party. I agree with that. I agree with that.
And let me tell this. Let me tell this.
Yes.
Let me tell it this way. Angela made the right call because Starchild was in the divide between the delegates and the Trump supporters, and he was pissing off a lot of people by standing on, like, he was front and center, like in the center of it all, standing on a chair with the banner, like blocking the Trump people's view.
That's what I said. He was asking for it, dude.
Yeah,
look at what he was wearing. He was totally asking for it.
But don't we believe in freedom of speech in this party? Angela made the right call. Starchild made the right call, and he suffered the consequences.
We also believe in property rights.
Yep. And here's the thing.
Property rights are needed.
You dirty Trump voters tried to take Starchild's sign, and for that reason, I will not vote for your candidate in 2024. You don't take Starchild's sign.
Okay. Anyway.
Listen, all I know is I was down in front when all this stuff was going on, and I remember looking back thinking, holy shit, is the Battle of Berkeley about to break out?
Yeah.
Did you guys think there was going to be a riot? Because I saw Clint talk about that earlier. He was saying he thought it was like for a good 5 minutes there, he didn't know.
Yeah, dude, in that divide, there was some yelling going on.
There was another guy who got up on the chair after Starchild, some dude in a hat, and he got dragged down too, I saw.
And then by me, there was a Russian girl, and there was a Chase lefty libertarian screaming at Trump the entire time, no matter what he said, screaming, liar, blah, blah, just screaming.
All right,
and the people around him were fucking pissed.
Josh hasn't said a lot. What's up?
What's your perspective, Joshua?
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty raucous. I got to see Afro Man while I was there, so that was cool. But yeah, it got
what happened during the Trump thing, man?
Yeah, like, I don't ever think it got to the point, like, I don't think at any time I was like, oh man, this place is going to deteriorate to a riot. Like, not even close. Like,
it might have been where I was sitting down there and I could also hear the fucking Trump people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, that was the thing. Like, if you were, like, looking at the stage, I was, like, off over here with, like, Pat and Matt and Derek, and, like, we were kind of, like, just chilling out and hanging, but it was really kind of cool. It was a lot of LP people. It was a lot of LNC guys over there on our side. So, I mean, we were just hanging out, watching the show. It was really funny. There was a lot of boos, a lot of jeers. You know, the media actually covered it pretty accurately for the most part there. Like, you know, there was some stuff, there was some cheers too. He said some stuff that's obviously it resonated with a bunch of people enough where it overcame the boos, but there was a lot of shit that, you know, like telling us he just got the best endorsement in the NRA is like saying you got the shiniest turd in the shit pile, bud.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when he said something about the NRA, like, all the libertarians were like, boo. And they didn't realize that we fucking don't like the NRA. And I hope a bunch of his supporters were like, hey, they know what they're talking about. And that's what we tried to do. And I think that's what the media got wrong, but I think they're confused on it. I think they thought it was...
Well, there were some people that were just straight up dishonest. Like, Laura Loomer said there were a bunch of RFK supporters up front. That bitch just straight fucking lied.
And here's the thing.
Her mouth is moving. She's lying. So.
Yeah. And RFK, because Trump did not want to debate him at the Libertarian Convention, gave out a bunch of these chickens to
show your cocks, boys.
Everybody, show your cocks. I know you got them. I know you got them. And so these babies were supposed to go in to squawk at Trump while he was giving his talk. Now, the Secret Service tried to take away one of my cocks, but luckily I had a pocket chicken. Brought it in there. So if you heard that from the right side, stage right, I was squeaking the whole time.
We did catch it on stream, and I've made sure to point it out. I was like, "There's a cock! Look, there's one right there."
I had him.
All right, so there was a bunch of like, Carl wants to buy one. Highest bidder. Let's go. $
500. This is a piece of history, my guy.
Right?
It's got debate Bobby written on it. I'll start the bidding at $500. RFK handed these out at the only Libertarian convention where a Kennedy and a Republican nominee for president came to talk to the Libertarian Party. $500 starting bid.
All right. So while they handle that in chat, I'll let you know if there's any updates. But the big thing going into convention for the whole Trump stuff is like, this is going to be terrible. We're basically selling out to the Republicans. Look at our candidate. What do you think now? We're basically selling out to the Republicans. Yeah, exactly. So what do you guys think the overall outcome? Is it a net positive, a net negative? Was inviting Trump the right move? Was it the wrong move? What do you think it means moving forward? Who haven't we heard from? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, it makes Angela look like the fucking smartest fucking LNC chair in the history of the party. She got a ton of press coverage, a ton of media coverage. She got what is probably going to end up when all the Treasury reports come out on it, probably a historical fundraising convention. And she did that with a fucking child on her hip and breastfeeding. Like, you know, like, trust me when I say I got to work with Angela very closely as the Credentials Committee chair over the weekend. And just the phenomenal amount of work that she was putting in both night and day. Like, there is a lot of shit that she was responsible for making happen that will probably go never unsung, unloved, and unheard of just because she's just that type of grinder. Like, I just don't even know how to describe it.
My man.
I learned a new trick during the live stream. We have a vote going right now, inviting Trump, etc., meaning Vivek and RFK and everybody that was invited, net negative, net positive. So we'll get results from that soon.
And you should also say that we invited Biden, we invited RFK, we invited everybody. Biden said no.
So I hear it both ways.
Did he say no, or did he leave us unseen?
He doesn't read anymore. He's fucking.
All he can do is read.
He meant to send the reply, but he forgot.
He's reading children's books right now.
So maybe you guys know some inside tracks that I don't know, because I've heard it both ways. I've heard it that Angela invited everybody. I've also heard it that Trump asked to come speak, and then she invited everybody else after the fact to play fair.
No.
I can tell you that no. She absolutely put out that notice, and I'll go on the record as saying she got a response from the Trump campaign had reached out to her within 24 hours being like, what can we do to get on your schedule?
Mm-hmm.
They came, the Trump campaign came to the LP and the LNC with hands out begging.
And Josh, was Vivek a part of the Trump campaign? Did he get added along with the Trump people?
That I'm not 100% on. I wasn't as privy to that one, but I can tell you for certain that within 24 hours, they were in Angela's communications channels. Probably, I think less than 12 hours actually. Going, how can we get on your schedule, and what are the parameters for us to be here?
Now, I have no inside baseball or anything like that. This is just me, pure speculation. But I would venture to guess that Vivek was going to come way before Trump and all these other people were going to come, because he does have a connection with Clint. He does have a connection with Dave. They're friendly between each other. They've been on each other's shows a bunch, just like Massey was coming. And I think that once he came on, he probably said something to say, hey, if you reach out to them, they'll come. And that's probably what gave her the idea to reach out to RFK and to reach out to Trump and all that stuff. I could be completely wrong. I'm just pulling it out of my ass, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened, because I would venture to guess that Vivek was probably going to be coming to the convention before any of these other people were. That's just my thought. And as it being a net positive, net negative, it was absolutely a net positive, 100%. It like Josh said, it's probably going to bring in more money than any other convention has ever brought in. It got way more media attention than any fucking convention ever did. I think on one of the streams for Trump's speech at the LNC, was hundreds of thousands of views, people watching. So, and they were all listening to Libertarian, and everyone's like, oh, it's just the Mises Caucus trying to, get Trump to be the nominee and everything like that. It's like, he came in and he was booed the entire time, like a lot of us predicted was going to happen. It was going to be the most hostile crowd he's going to stand in front of all year long, and it was exactly that. Some people were way more autistic about it than they needed to be, but it was absolutely a positive for the party.
And you know what? Just for this moment, I've got this sign right here because I knew this would come up today. Let's get this off here. We held a bunch of these up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Free Ross signs. And Trump made a concession. First day in office, he said if we nominated him or if we vote for him, which he didn't fill out. He also said we didn't nominate him, but he didn't fill out the paperwork to be nominated. So he's
For him,
obviously wrong.
and
He made a
mind,
tweet
nominating and
responding
voting
to
for are the same thing.
yeah, that's one thing. So I
Yeah.
think if he sees like something, he's gonna be like, yeah, they voted for me.
All right.
They
Now,
totally
here's-
did.
Free Ross.
Another question.
Got through to him.
Not saying that I don't want to free Ross Ulbricht, but why Ross and not Assange?
He also there was a list of
Tim
grievances.
Pool interview.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he said he was going to think about, but I'm asking why the LP didn't push Assange over Ross.
We
We gave him a list.
We did. So there was.
I'll tell you why.
Hang on. There was a certain like campaign going around. It was the Free Ross campaign that got the signs into the convention center where the talk was going on prior to Secret Service showing up.
I get that.
Yeah. So there was a list of grievances sent to the Trump campaign prior to his speech going on, and on that list of grievances was free Assange. So that's what he was addressing. He was addressing our list of grievances as libertarian delegates.
So I guess
Okay,
you'd
but
have to take that up with Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing is because I know when he was announced, the rumor had already been leaked that he was going to announce he was going to pardon or commute Ross Ulbricht's sentence. That was before he even showed up. This was like weeks before the convention when it was first announced. They was already talking about the free Ross thing. My only question, I'm just questioning, is like why it was Ross for weeks prior and not pushing Assange.
Because
Well,
we did
That's
not.
my only question.
Because we did not have a campaign of free Assange people who
Yeah, the
produce signs with
The
us.
Free
Yeah, so
Ross
like
thing
Martha's-
was not
like
done
Martha's
by the
people.
LP. That was done by a group of people. Yes,
Yeah.
Martha Bueno
Martha's
was one of the
people.
ones. She was one of the people passing out signs.
Had
But
people
no,
passed
apparently
out
there's
the
also-
free Assange signs, we would have also waived free Assange signs.
Yeah,
Well,
also
I'm not
Kat,
asking why there wasn't free Assange signs. I was saying in the negotiations, why was
There were.
Ross over Assange.
It wasn't.
no,
there-
it wasn't
there
like
were,
he was put over it. There was a list of things given, and they just ran with whatever they wanted to on the list.
I think
Assange was on that list, as was Ross.
I
Donald
think,
Trump chose to just go with Ross.
Josh
Okay,
looks faded. Just saying. Hashtag Gummy-gate too.
Here we go.
Yo, wish
So-
I can actually handle my fucking drugs.
There were two.
Rec
There
can't handle your drugs. That's for goddamn sure.
There were two comments. So Magoo probably had the funniest one. The reason why it was free Ross and not free Assange is because the signs for Ross were cheaper, less letters. That was pretty good. I did hear that there was conversation about the free Ross thing the whole time before. I think the real reason, and you guys tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think Pat hit the nail on the head in his last section of his comment. Ross's mom has been campaigning with the Libertarian Party forever to make this a central issue, and the party is the people who show up, and she fucking shows up all the time, and so it was front and center on all the libertarians' minds to free Ross, and so that's
on
why.
the topic of that,
Yeah.
too, I just want to add this. Talking to Kat from the Mises Caucus, because she was also deeply involved in all of this. Apparently, she was so mad when Trump did not pardon him or commute his sentence. I don't know if this is true, and maybe we can get her on one day to talk about this, but reportedly, she jumped a red velvet rope at Mar-a-Lago to go confront him on this.
Who did that?
Lynn Ulbricht,
Oh,
supposedly. Supposedly.
I mean, she's trying to save her son.
I want that story, man.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, if that's true.
Yeah, Lynn Ulbricht has been working with us for years. And to be fair, like I saw the free Assange people at the YAL convention a few years ago as well. So I think she has been working with us more actively.
No, and that makes perfect sense. I was just curious because it seemed like it was something that was, negotiated prior to.
Yeah,
And the fact that Lynn is more involved in the LP. And
it definitely
he is
seemed that
something-
way. How do you get all those signs ahead of time? Like
Duke,
yeah.
it was titled the list of grievances from the Libertarian Party to Trump. Take a look at that.
I've read it.
I think Angela posted it on her social media. So yeah, that's everything that we sent to his campaign for him to address.
And he probably figured that Ross was the easiest one to do because
Well,
the CIA doesn't want to
He even said
No,
like the guy's been in jail for 11 years. I might as well do it. He's served his time.
there's
It's an
that,
easy one.
and
Easy one.
another thing is Trump stands to gain the most from commuting Ross, because it would be a fuck you to the judge that sentenced Ross, which is also one of the same judges that fucked over Trump.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so there's a little bit of that going on there too.
Hey, Mitch, dropping some knowledge here.
Playing
That's huge.
politics.
What's that judge's name, Mitch?
I cannot remember the name off the top of my head. I just remember looking into that and thinking, son of a bitch.
That's fine.
That's why.
That's
That
good.
is why when Trump was leaving office, I said, if he pardons Assange, Snowden, or Ross Ulbricht, I will leave the Libertarian Party, go Liberty Republican, and never look back. I had a feeling he wasn't going to do it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I looked at the situation and thought, I'll say or, because with Ross, he at least has a reason to do it. The other two, it sucks, and I hate to have to put it this way, but they're chess pieces on the board. You know what I mean? Ross doesn't really stand to be a chess piece on the board.
No,
I
for
think
sure.
Trump's in favor of also pardoning Assange, and then I don't think he's in favor of pardoning Snowden, giving his interview
No.
with Candace Owens a few years ago, saying that Snowden actually released some names that were critical to national security.
All right, so I put out a thing in the chat. You guys can go ahead and enter while I do the rounds on these questions that have already been entered. But if you've got a question for the panel, because I kind of want to, like Duke said earlier, we've been going for over 2 hours, so
Yeah,
I want to pull.
Wrap this up soon.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up real soon. So if you got questions for the group, go ahead and put them in now. While you're putting them in, I'm gonna go ahead and ask the ones that have already been asked. So first question was from Joey. He says, who does the panel want in the Trump cabinet? If Trump follows through on his promises, who do we want in the cabinet in what position? Josh, go ahead, go first. You want me to come back? You want me to circle back Saki style?
Fucking
No,
high
I
ass
can tell you
shit,
no-
motherfucker.
No, there's
You've been
so many
you've been
good answers. I don't
eating
want
them Rectenwald gummies, Josh. Eating them Rectenwald.
I already know
gummies.
what my
I was
first
gonna take a
answer
gummy
is.
before the first. No, I'm trying to there's so many good answers here, and there's really not a bad one when you go down the list, because there is a lot of really good fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not gonna give the cop out answer that I know somebody's going to. So I mean,
I'll do it.
probably
Go ahead, Josh. I'm just messing with you.
Duke, just stand. Don't hurt
Do
your
it.
back, bro. Just stand.
No, I
up,
can't.
bro.
No, I'm good. Go ahead, Josh.
So do you get one pick? Who is it, and where are they at?
if I had to pick one, probably Scott Horton, Secretary of State.
Is that what you're going to say, Mitch?
Yes. Well, not
Dude.
Secretary of State, but yeah.
That's
Duke?
the only. No, Scott Horton, Secretary of State, is the only answer. If like what we want.
There's plenty of people you could choose from. Go ahead,
You want to know
Mitch.
what mine is?
Fuck you, no.
I'll come to you, Mitch. Do you have a
Yeah,
different
now
one,
I
or
gotta
you're
think
going
of
to stick?
someone new. Give me a second. Go to
All
one
right,
of them.
we'll Saki back
think
to
you-
you. Go ahead, Duke.
I have a good one, and this is one that is a little far-fetched, but it actually might be one that could actually make it into the cabinet. Mike Termont, economic advisor.
Seriously? Wow.
We'll see how you feel about that one. All right, Rob.
But
who
no,
you
but
got?
what I'm saying is like that I can actually see him being in there as opposed to Scott Horton.
Well, he's
who will
worked in the
never
White
be
House
there.
before, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he is good on economics. He's an Austrian economic. He's not an MMT guy. You know, Scott Horton is never going to be fucking Secretary of State. You know, they're not going to put any, like Rand Paul might be in there, but they're not going to pull him out of the Senate. Massey isn't going to be in there. You know, Spike Houghton's not going to be in there. Who's
Okay.
someone that might actually have a chance to be in there and might actually have a chance to do something? Will he be economic advisor? No.
But would that be a good position for him? And is he someone that has been, like you said, he's been in the White House before?
Who would have thought that Duke was the biggest prag in the group?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
You're asking who's going to be in Trump's cabinet as a libertarian.
All right.
And that makes the most sense to me.
Rob, who do you want?
Josh took my answer with Scott Horn as Secretary of State. That's obviously
Chat saying that's the easy one.
that obviously
All right,
is the
I
easiest
can
one
keep going.
because foreign
foreign
policy is the most important voting issue for me and a bunch of libertarians. So Scott Horn nails it on that. Here's the thing. Since Josh took my answer, I'll give you the realist answer and what's going to actually happen. Trump is going to select Matt Gaetz or some other Republican who he will claim to be libertarian and put him in his cabinet. That's what's going to happen.
That's not bad.
Somebody like somebody like Gates, but he's not going to pull Gates out of Congress. But that's
and that's the thing. Duke was right. It's better to leave Rand Paul and Thomas Massie where they are, because they get a lot more work done there. So that it's really, once you get past like actual LP members and figure out who Trump is going to actually appoint, a non-libertarian registered Republican, it's really hard to answer this question.
Pat's got his money on Vivek. Mitch, we're Saki and back to
Vivek
you.
for VP. Vivek for VP, obviously.
Obviously, the realistic answer is someone like Rand Paul, Thomas Massie, or what was that, Mike Johnson that opened up for Trump, that other guy.
Mike Lee.
Mike Lee, thank you.
Who had a really good Trump impression, by the way.
Yeah,
Mike Lee and Rand need to stay in the Senate. They do not need to go.
I know, but I'm just saying that it's far more likely that it's going to be something like that.
The question was, who do you want?
Let me finish. Let me finish. I was about to say who I want. God.
Okay.
Fuck Tim.
I'm ready.
Jesus, man.
Shenanigans.
All right, but anyway, perhaps not exactly libertarian, but a few strokes off in the world of anarchism. I so badly want to see Michael Malice as press secretary.
I knew you were going to say that.
I knew it.
I just one thing that this reality could give us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want to see him deal with them the way.
All right.
Oh man.
Well,
you all know.
Josh said he was ready to take a second bite at the apple. Then I'll throw mine in, and we'll go to the next question.
Oh, I was just saying, like, it gets easier from the first one. I promise.
I mean, I will say another funny idea I had was Jacob Hornberger as an economic advisor.
They say, get this fucking asshole out of here. Do you want to tell your second pick, Josh, or do you want me to just tell mine and we'll move on?
Bob Murphy for Treasury Department.
Okay, that'd be pretty good.
Boom.
That's pretty good.
Solid pick, Josh.
That's pretty good.
I would put Peter Schiff into the Fed. That's what I want.
That's a good pick too. That's a good pick too.
Is Ron Paul really that retired?
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Now, Ron.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Tim, after watching his speech at the LNC, like, he is way more capable than Biden. Like,
he got he got them drugs, dude. He stayed away from the gummies. He's not a fucking idiot.
No. Ron Paul, after a stroke, is a more well-spoken candidate than Joe Biden.
Yeah. All right.
I want Jeff Deist in the old Steve Bannon position for his chief strategist.
That's not bad.
Good. That's not bad.
No,
either.
that's a good one.
Good. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're coming up with some good ones. We're going to move on, though, because I know everybody wants to wrap. Okay, so next question. Does the grassroots even still exist? Basically, been still early 40s here, was the guy asking a question. Fastball Flakes. Do you guys think the grassroots still exists?
Yes.
Can I answer this and make a shameless plug?
Oh, God damn it. Go ahead.
Oh, God.
All right, so...
No one's coming to your comedy show,
Rob. My comedy is not grassroots.
He says brass roots. I don't know if that's something different. I thought it was a typo. I guess it's not.
Not grassroots. Can you define?
All right, we'll come back. Phrase the question better. Next question: should the MC be begging developing a candidate roster now in case Dave and Spike don't run in 2028. Also, why not run more federal candidates?
Because that's not the strategy. Shut up, Josh. You're not in the MC anymore.
That's
Anyway.
not Josh.
No.
Okay.
He was getting ready to talk. I saw his ass. Anyway, because that's not the strategy. The strategy, as Duke and Josh and Mitch and Tim all well know, the strategy is to find and fund local, viable candidates and fund them. And that's what we need to do. Now, as far as the strategy, it hasn't changed. Federal candidates, not our big thing. Like, that's why we didn't fund Hector. That's among other reasons, because Hector's shit anyway. But like that's why we are funding at the state level MCs. If you go talk to a state organizer in any of the MC states, they probably are throwing some money to fund local candidates.
Those lesser 49 states don't even have money. All right.
That's true. I mean, Florida, we're fortunate to have a bunch of supporters. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, a lot of people who funded the MC to where we could fund candidates like Mercedes Marassi, even Hector Roos. Well, no, we didn't fund Hector. Sorry.
You said that.
Did we fund Hector? I don't think.
I don't think we did. No.
We tried to.
Tracy, we did. Just go Ronald
He
Tracy.
left the MC because he wasn't getting funded.
Well, no. Here's the thing: we offered to buy him a flight and a place to stay in the Panhandle in Pensacola for 2 events, and he didn't want to show up because he wanted to table his little thing at Yale. So that's his own fault. But we funded like 3 or 4 other local candidates. Other than that, we can't spend more than 20% on candidates. So we have to spend money on other things because Hector set us up that way, and that's his own fault.
And to answer the question, yeah, they better be looking for a decent presidential candidate right now that isn't Dave Smith.
Oh, so sorry. I think the whole libertarian.
Dave isn't running for president.
No. I think the whole libertarian presidential candidate thing needs to move to an earlier date. And I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I was talking with Spike about that. We're hoping to change that.
We have less resources, and so the earlier the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, the president for the LP needs to be decided the year before the election. So like 2023 should have been when it was decided.
Maybe even 2022, Duke. Maybe even 2022, dude.
That's 2 years prior might not be a bad idea, but it needs to be at least a year out.
We don't have the resources these guys have.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question from the same guy, Fastball Flakes. Question for the panel. Your opinions of Dave Berglund. That sounds like a reference Mitch would get.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
so
nobody knows.
Yeah, sorry.
Fastball Flakes is slowball flakes. You're definitely autistic, dude. But I'm glad you're in the chat. I'm gonna have to look up Dave Berglund real quick.
All right, move on to the next question.
I think we're pretty much there, man. Like, not a lot of people have questions. Everybody's shitting on different people. I see there's a lot of shitting on Bruce. So,
Okay.
yeah, we're having a good time.
So then I have something.
We
that I
can't
wanna
end
touch
on Dave Berglund, dude. We cannot end on Dave
Here,
Berglund.
We won't.
I have a question.
Yeah.
A legitimate question. We got into a little bit offline, Mitch and I, about the whole future of the MC and does this, this failure of this convention, is this like the death knell, the beginning of the end for the MC?
Oh, yeah. Here, this kind of relates. Magoo wants to know if it was a takeover or a makeover.
Okay.
We wanted Ron Paul, we got RuPaul.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which is true. So the question is this. Now that we know Heiss is stepping down and stepping away and what he has said about fundraising and everything like that, and you guys had a few things to say, does Michael Heiss leaving the MC help or hurt the future prospects of the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus? And I'll pass it over to Mitch to start off.
So I'm just going to start off by saying that for a long time I was talking about with Mike about this being the last dance, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how we both saw this convention, or at least how he saw it.
For him.
And for him, yes.
Okay.
So like for a long time he's been talking about stepping away to work on family, You know what I mean? He has his wife and he has his kid as well.
And that's
And
most important.
as far as him stepping away goes, I feel like he's no longer in the trenches, but he'll still be around to some degree. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, he's still a buddy.
Yeah.
Shit, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't just show up to see us like we were an old ex. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
He's
And
just trying to get a quick nut. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Because him-
That
because him
sounded a lot
stepping
more
away-
wrong than it should have.
because of like
I was
because
thinking the ending of Annie Hall. You were thinking of something else entirely.
Yeah. But no,
Right.
like, because for the last few years now, he has burned a lot of bridges with a lot of people around in a lot of different libertarian circles and has butted heads with a lot of people. Do you see him leaving as a net positive or a net negative moving
That's
forward?
In some ways, yes and no. I mean, that's the only way I could put it, in the sense that it's a positive that now we really will be put, we are now the ones to be the masters of our own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that's how this was all supposed to be to begin with, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love Mike, man. He's my buddy. In some ways, it's sad to see him go. But at the same time, I never really saw him as, he was a big influence on all of this. But at the same time, a lot of it was us. Like, we talked about the Lakeland convention off stream, too. And, that was all us, man. We did that. Josh, even you were with us at the time. And whoever
Even
brought
you.
that John McAfee sign, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think it's best for everyone. And now, at first I was kind of discouraged by Chase. But then seeing all these people coming back into the fold, realizing, oh shit, Reno couldn't just be a one-time thing. We got to keep that shit going. You know what I mean? It reinvigorated the base. It was a wake-up call. You know what I mean? When the Soviets didn't. I hate to have to use the analogy of the Soviet fucking Union, but when the Bolsheviks took over the Russian government, it wasn't like they just took over, Moscow and that was it. No, they had to deal with the fucking civil war in Russia. You had the White Army, you had the Black Army, and you had the Red Army. And eventually the Red Army defeated both the White Army and the Black Army and won, and it became the Soviet Union.
Why gotta be a black army though?
Because they were anarchists.
Okay.
However, they
Rob.
were the type of anarchists that, and I can't believe this exists,
We're,
they would have executed all of us for drinking alcohol.
all right, so we're fucking lost now because of Mitch's tangents. So repeat the question.
Blame the gummy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rob, do you think Michael Heitz stepping back and no longer being the chair and being the figurehead of the MC is a net positive or a net negative moving forward?
I think Pat in the chat, obviously Pat has been a huge supporter and state organizer here in Florida. So you got to look at it in two ways, Florida or national.
National.
And-
I'm talking about national. I'm not talking about state caucuses. I'm talking strictly about national.
Okay, nationally wise, Michael Heitz has taken a step back in the last 5 or 6 months because he got married. He's having a baby, shit like this. So it's been kind of up to us a lot nationally. I think it might be a net positive because it forces state organizers and it forces people who've been involved to step up. And that's what we've been needing the entire time. We don't need a singular voice. We need 50 voices. Well, 50 state voices and then more underneath that throughout the whole country. And we haven't had that. We've had Mike running the whole show. So I think it's going to be a net positive given everything that's transpired.
Josh, you're not in the MC anymore. But what do you think?
He's a divisive figure, Josh. Whether you like it or not, he's a divisive figure.
No, I'm gonna it's a net neutral for the caucus in my opinion here, and let me explain why. Is Michael Heitz was the spiritual face of the party. I remember the first time I met him at the LPF convention in Lakeland. I remember going up to him, and the first thing I said to him before I even said hello or introduced myself was like, so this is the Libertarian Party's fucking boogeyman. Really? This is who everybody's scared of?
That's what my
Yeah.
wife
And he
said
just
too.
kept-
Yeah.
And he just fucking laughed at me, and he was like, bro, these people are not serious.
Yeah.
And that was exactly where I got my unserious, unspectacular fucking people line from. Like, what Michael Heist did to inspire a nationwide libertarian movement should not go unrecognized or uncelebrated. The man did something monumental, took years out of his life, time away from his family, money out of his fucking pocket. Like, those types of charismatic leaders come around once in a lifetime. They're generational. There will never, ever be another fucking organizer politically like Michael Heist. He absolutely knew how to organize. He was super smart about, understanding and hearing where people's complaints were. Now, where I say it's a net positive is that the biggest problem Heist had is that he was too cocksured, and he never really had a contingency plan for anything he did. He was just so sure with everything all the time was that this is right, and I know what I'm doing here, and it's all going to work out. And
maybe he trusted people he shouldn't have trusted.
And Dave Smith didn't run.
I mean, I'll take it back to Reno. I was part of that strategy team. A lot of the reasons that strategy shifted over the last 2 weeks was because I started going through bylaws, going through plans, and saying, this is how they're going to weaponize it against us. This is what they're going to do when it leaks. This is where we're going to want to put in misdirection. And our Reno convention, for all intents and purposes, went really smooth because the strategy was sound. We knew when to pivot. We read the room when we were losing it, and we made concessions because, hey, it's a political game. We didn't want to get beat over the head with the scepter of power, so eventually we grabbed it for ourselves. Unfortunately for Mike, that night in DC, for him, the wrong Mike got to play the fucking kingmaker. That's the real end of story here. And if things would have been like I said before, in an alternative timeline, none of this would have happened. Everybody would have been a lot happier. And yeah, some people still would have been upset, but guess what? The reality is it doesn't matter who the candidate was. We hated Joe Jorgensen for various reasons throughout the party. There was hate for Gary Johnson II and the first time for various reasons throughout the party. We didn't like Bill Barr, Chad Baderick, like the last decent Libertarian Party candidate before all of this, maybe, and going into the future was Harry Brown. And even people hated him for various reasons in the party. It's never going to change. It's never going to change. There's always going to be people who are going to hate the Libertarian Party candidate. So reality is that the best thing for people to learn out of this is that winning hearts and minds matters. Politics is transactional. You got to read the room sometimes and be willing to play the game when it matters most. At the end of the day, it's a net neutral. Losing Michael Heist is a great loss, a great spiritual loss that a lot of people are going to feel. It's going to have a reverberation through the caucus that will be felt for months, if not years. But I think they're going to be able to recover. I think that there's a lot of good people in the caucus who want to see this thing succeed. There's a lot of people who I'm hearing are coming back in or newly coming into the caucus who are galvanized by, hey, we won the LNC, but we didn't accomplish all of our goals. It was almost like Orlando in 2020 all over again. And honestly, the Mises caucus is going to be fine. Things are going to change. People are going to be different. And rumor has it there's several people vying for chair. And the reality is that the Mises caucus guys need to sort it out internally, figure out who is out of the caucus that used to be in, that they need to harpoon and bring back because this is part of who we are. And otherwise, they need to figure this out internally. Who is going to be the new king of the caucus? That was
by
my
the way, I don't know where this whole chair thing is coming from. We don't operate on the same model. I mean, we do a little bit on the state level.
Because it comes from Heist, because he calls
different.
himself Mises Chair. That's where it comes from.
No, I just the Twitter handle. Yeah.
Right, yeah. That's
Well,
where
Yeah,
it comes
because
from.
he's the Mises PAC chair. He was the Mises PAC. fair.
And he is, but Josh, how many times did we sit there as state organizers and go, hey, we don't care what's going on here in Florida?
That was my
This-
favorite thing to do, was to
this
tell
is
Jeff
what we're
Douglas we're going to flex it on his ass. He did not like it.
He said, hey, don't say you're going to secede from the United States of America. We said,
Fuck y'all.
we said flex it or die. We said flex it or die, dude. That's what we
We
did.
meant it. We
He
meant
then
it.
I
also
walked
didn't
into
like
PA
the Hawaiian
convention
shirt
and said
Mises logo.
Oh, they
Alright.
got so angry over that when I started making up fucking gear.
Well, you know what? When you make autonomous factions are going to autonomous faction, dude. That's what's going to happen.
Decentralized revolution, baby.
This
Hell
is
yeah.
what decentralized looks like.
Everybody
And you know
does
what?
what the fuck they want.
If we need a new ginger leader, me and Duke will gladly step up to the plate. Has to be a ginger.
Rob,
know
you
what?
already are Michael Heiss.
We're not a part of this Libertarian Party. We don't
So-
Libertarian at all. Me and
So,
Duke.
on the
sunscreen.
same
Whoa.
on the
Whoa,
same
racist.
on the same subject, I kind of want to ask who everybody wants to run the organization now, but Josh Smith has put his hat in the ring. Do y'all think he's got a chance at getting it? Yay or nay?
I think he was.
You think he's trolling? I think he's
Yeah,
trolling.
he's trolling.
Too. Yeah.
He's
He's
trolling.
100%.
He said he
Okay.
was off Twitter for 2 weeks, so I'm gonna say that's not him tweeting. I'm gonna say he's
It's
it
one of
can't
his
be,
7
it can't be
kids.
him because he said he was off Twitter for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's one of
That
his.
man is terminally online. He's on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so unhealthy. You guys listening to this podcast right now, thank you so much. But if you've been on Twitter ever since convention, get off, man. Get off.
It's
Take a break.
Successful.
Unless
It's-
you're going to
it's-
go look at Michael Malice's tweets. Those
I
that shit's been
resemble
fired.
that of Mark.
It's
I don't like
it's
this.
hey, it's not healthy. If you
I'm
think
on
it's
there
healthy,
and
it's
I'm
fine.
barely following politics. I'm following other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun, honestly.
All right, guys. I think.
Watching the re.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta wrap it up.
I was trying to
they
get it
see
to
that?
go. Yeah, I was
Can
trying
they
to
We
get
see
it.
gotta get like that music, that actual music from the Oscars.
I was trying to get it full
Wrap
screen.
it up,
Here we
B.
Wrap it up, music boys.
That's good.
I
Hey,
think we do need to wrap it up though.
I mean, the takeaway here, guys, is that don't run away from the party. Make it better. That's my only takeaway. If you're in the MC, and if you're not in the MC and you don't agree with what's going on, show up to fucking convention, you bunch of bitches.
Not going to DC was the best $3,000 I did not spend.
Yeah,
Just gonna say.
exactly.
You know what? It was a really fun time. It was honestly probably the most historic and best LP convention of all time. So, say what you will.
All right.
DC sucks, but still.
We're
great
gonna
convention.
wrap it up. A bunch of us are probably gonna be in the live chat thing afterwards. There's a lobby in the Discord that's open to everybody who wants to be there. Just go down in the links and find it. You'll also find links for these guys. But before we get out, we're gonna give everybody a chance to shill their shit. So we're gonna start with Josh, wrap around, and end with me. So Josh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna show my campaign for office. Donate to my campaign. Running for Florida House. Otherwise, if you're not already, come on down to Florida. Your state is god awful.
There you go. That's right. Mitch, go ahead.
Anyway, go follow me on Twitter at Mitch Connor JLo. Go check out 1776swag.com. And flags are finally back in the store. They're going to be returning little by little. Right now, I just got the Florida flag. Might as well start with the great state. And from there, we're going to be getting a hell of a lot more. So keep up with that.
All right, Duke.
Nothing to plug. It was fun bullshitting with you boys
Of course.
this evening. Just go follow me at DK_Chastain on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. Just be on there talking shit like I normally do because I don't do anything else apparently.
You got married. You did more than half the people on this call.
Yeah, no, you're doing better than I am in that regard.
Yes, I have the loving embrace of a woman, which
There you go.
Hey, only 3 out of the 5 of us can talk
say
about
that.
one.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
sorry.
you're-
I pray for Mitch and Rob's future wife, and hopefully, Rob is not your stepsister.
I knew it. I knew it's coming. Wait.
Damn.
Rob, go ahead.
Dates you got, bro.
That girl broke my heart, Duke. How fucking dare you?
Because nothing grips quite like the stepsis.
No.
You see this closet back there? There's a door to a like cubby hole under there. She got stuck in there.
Oh
We made
no.
great love. Here's the thing, Duke. Fuck you guys. Fuck Hector. Fuck Josh for always bringing that up. Girl broke my heart. My plug, my plug would be follow this podcast. Get us to 500 followers so we can get a damn sponsor.
And get
Mitch,
Mitch some
Mitch,
fucking
you know
internet.
your camera messes my camera up. How dare you leave
So we
during
need
my
500 subscribers so we could do what? Monetize this bitch?
Yes,
Yeah,
so we can
and
monetize the
internet.
thing.
Heaven forbid.
So like and share, and also if you like stand-up comedy, follow our Vincent Comedy. It's in the link in the description. And if you like college football, follow College Football Extravaganza. It's on the Swampcast Network, so we're gonna be starting here soon because the season's starting here soon. And also, I'm an attorney now, so you can no longer say not a real attorney. Fuck you guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Man,
Anyway.
moving on up. You're an attorney. You're on the LNC. You do dick jokes in front of people for money.
I do.
Still can't get laid.
I'm getting laid. I'm getting laid.
No,
I'm getting
nobody
laid.
believes it. Nobody
Your hand
believes
doesn't
it.
count.
Prove
All
it.
right.
You know what? And you know what? Follow the Swamp Catchers. Swamp.
What?
He had a Gummy-gate 3.0.
Follow the
Gummies
Swamp.
getting cummies.
Follow the Swamp Creatures OnlyFans if you want to see my content.
Oh no. All right, everybody, we'll be in the lobby if you want to join. Discord link down below. We'll see you there, guys. Let's go.